Hey listeners, this is Tatton. Before we start the first part of the Wonderful 101 episode, I want to take a moment and share something with you. A few weeks ago, we had a great opportunity to interview John Weeks, who's currently running a Kickstarter for the Museum of Pinball, a project to open a 40,000 square foot museum on 18 acres of gorgeous property in California, featuring over 500 pinball machines. The property is really just absolutely gorgeous, and the facility could easily turn into one of the coolest places in the U.S. to play and experience everything pinball. Unfortunately, I work in IT, so of course the night of the interview I was troubleshooting a wide area network problem and not talking about pinball. I have a pretty rocking internet connection, and I was supposed to host it that night, and since I couldn't, Chris and Steve kind of hit some bandwidth problems with the Skype call with John, and most of the interview was garbled or just kind of slowed down to the point that it was just disruptive to listen to. Unfortunately, we're 3 weeks into his Kickstarter, and I want to at least put something of this together so you guys can listen to it. So I've put as much as I could in the beginning of the episode, so you get to hear John talk about his project before the regular episode starts. This really is a huge bummer because he's a super awesome guy, and filling in the blanks that I couldn't really hear what was going on in the interview, this would have been just really, really fun to listen to. There's 9 days left, and John still needs $130,000 to reach his goal. So please check out his website at www.museumofpinball.org. And even if his Kickstarter falls through, he's still moving forward with the project. So I'm sure if you follow his website, there'll be places to donate and help him kind of turn this into a reality. So without further ado, we'll start off with the what I could get from John, and then we'll move right into the regular episode.
All right, we'll go ahead and get this started here. We're here with John Weeks. He's the founder of the Museum of Pinball to be opened next year in California. Let's just start off and just go ahead and tell us about your story and what you want to do with your new facility next year.
Okay, I'm looking to open a large facility to house about 500 pinball machines, which is my own collection. It's a building that I bought. It's situated on 18 acres in Banning, California, which is about an hour and a half drive from LA, Orange County. In the museum, I want to put a nice display of all the machines, have them working, get volunteers to help me keep them going. It's going to be a non-profit. It's going to be called the Museum of Pinball.
And how long have you been buying pinball machines?
I started buying machines back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Was this because you ran an arcade, or was this a private collection even back then?
No, back then because I ran an arcade, but around 2006 is when I got reunited with pinball, and I started, just to buy some for myself at home. And then, one became two, and then two became 25, and I says, well, now what am I going to do here?
So, at what point did you start storing them off-site?
Probably within about 2 years. I couldn't put any more in my house, so I had to put them in the storage. And that's when I got the idea I was just going to open an arcade type situation. Mm-hmm. But then I changed my direction to open, like a large museum where I could house them all, where people could come and play them and see the artwork of them and, enjoy them. And,
mm-hmm.
Just people in the hobby or just new people who may not even know about pinball.
Well, I want to thank you, John, for joining us, and best of luck with the Kickstarter, and we'll link everything up on our website, and we'll put this up about the time that the Kickstarter comes out, July 8th, and like I said, if everything goes well, I'll definitely be on my way out there to play. I can't wait.
All right, that'd be awesome. We'd love to have you there, and I appreciate you guys putting me on to your website and your show.
Now you're playing with podcast.
Welcome to Now You're Playing with Podcast, episode 21. This is going to be the first of a lot of parts. We are doing the top 101 games of all time.
The Wonderful 101?
Yeah, but still for Nintendo.
Modern reference.
We were at Korg's back in June, where we had asked, we gave out surveys to everybody to stop by our booth, asking them what their favorite 25 video games of all time were. We also put out the same survey on our Facebook page, and we got the message out to some of our other fellow podcasters and people that run blogs and our former guests. All in all, we received 83 surveys back. I think 26 people we considered former guests and hosts. And we received, with those 83 surveys, we got about 2,600 some individual votes for games. 770 individual games received votes. And the 101 top vote getters we're going to talk about. Here is the list of our former guests. How this worked was we basically every vote got one vote. There wasn't any weighing. You didn't put your number one game, your number two game. You just put list of 25. So one game, one vote. The first tiebreaker was the host votes, the guest votes, former guests and VIPs and other blog owners. And I'll go through that list here. Cory, who's been a guest a few times on our show. Jesse, the owner of Arcade Legacy, was on our show last year sometime. S1500, the host of Classic Console Gamer News, an Atari Age podcast curmudgeon. Ferg from the 2600 Game by Game podcast. Nicole, the mastermind of puregeekery.net. Stan and Amy from electricfrankfurter.com. Great blog. Amy's a great artist who helps us out with our Hexadecathlon every year. Thomas Green, he's the editor of Joe Gagney's Fun Time Wrestling Arcade. Joe was on our show last year at some point. Tom's his friend and does the editing and has his own podcast. I think it's called Wrestle Folks. John Hancock, internet famous game collector. He's the organizer of the Cowlitz Gaming for Kids convention in Washington State. Ben Mullen, Tetris champ, been on our show. Mike Lawrence, stand-up comedian and the host of the Nerd of Mouth podcast. Rick Wees, organizer of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Scott was a former guest on our show. He's one of the VIPs. UK Mike from Retro Gaming Roundup podcast. And Focus RS, the host of Arcade USA on YouTube. So lots of... we have a good range of game titles on here. A lot of good tiebreakers. I hope I'm making sense still.
And I think Juario was in there too.
Yeah, I didn't get his ID, so he was in there, but he wasn't a former guest vote.
Oh yeah, that's true, I guess.
But so that was the first tiebreaker where the former guest votes, and then the four of us, the hosts, Becky, Tatton, me, and Steve. That was the next tiebreaker. And then we had a big debate. It took us about 3 hours going through every one of these votes, every one of these games, to break ties and also to combine games. For instance, the Resident Evil for the PlayStation. We also had a couple votes for the GameCube version, so we had to debate whether or not we should combine those two. So rather than have rules for that, we just decided to go by game and vote on each one of these individually. So there were biases in that fact, just to break ties and to bring some games into the list that wouldn't have been there otherwise because technicalities like putting different versions and that sort of thing. So you might or might not disagree or agree with what we came up with some of these, but we did want a nice round list, and we didn't want particular titles taking up 10 different positions on our top 101. So we had these considerations when whether or not to combine games, and the debate was furious, and it was pretty fun, but
it was intense. It was really intense.
You can imagine.
I mean, it was. For anyone who's listening who came up with their 25 for the survey, it was hard. It was really hard to just pick 25 games. Then to have to be on the 4-person committee for that, to have to help weigh and break down what's actually going to make that list or not was more. It was. I wish I could have done my 25 again because that was so much easier.
Yeah, and anybody did fill out a survey. Thank you so much. Our list, I think, is better than anything IGN's ever put out. A lot of work went into it on everybody's part, and even anybody that excruciatingly went over a list and painstakingly eliminated and thought about their favorite 25 games over the thousands and thousands of video games of the past 35 to 40 years. It was a pretty impressive undertaking, the whole project, and I'm really proud of what we came up with. So, with that said, on with the list.
Now you're playing with podcast.
All right, I'm recording. You want to lead us off?
All right, well, we can do an intro. So here we are, 7 of us here for part 1. This is it's Tatton calls it the wonderful 101.
Boom!
Boom.
U reference.
We're starting with 101?
Yes.
Makes me happy.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so
The Baker's 100.
What we did was we took surveys from people at Korgs, people on Facebook, our friends, from pretty much all over, other message boards and whatnot. We got 83 people to turn in surveys. We got 1,700 something total votes here. What's my final? 1,766 total games voted for, and at least 770 individual games received at least 1 vote. So this is a creme de la creme. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit more Frenchy.
Creme de la creme. That's like Spanish.
You better French it up over there, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to go fancy.
That was a little bit too aggressively French there, Steve.
I surrender! And then, so we had 83 people turn in surveys, and we have 15 former guests and other podcasters and whatnot. I'll go ahead and read off this list, because these people acted as our tiebreakers. The list is the Jesse, the owner of Arcade Legacy. Cory, who was a former guest, he's here.
Mm-hmm.
S1500, the host of Classic Console Gamer News.
Is that his real name?
No, that's his screen name. I think.
I am
I have to double check with them. Yeah, okay. And Ferg, the host of 2600 Game by Game podcast. Nicole, the mastermind of puregeekery.net. Stan and Amy, the bloggers at Electric Frankfurter, who did a feature on our list, their lone list, so we appreciate that.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
Thomas Green, the editor of Joe Gagney's Fun Time Wrestling Arcade on YouTube, who was a former guest. John Hancock, internet game collector, the organizer of the Cowlitz Gamers for Kids convention out in Seattle.
Didn't he sign the Declaration of Independence as well?
Yeah, but I think it's a different guy.
Aw.
There's more than one?
Yeah, I think there is.
Names can only be from one person.
Yeah, I thought-
But this guy's collection is bigger than Tatton and I, so he's pretty fucking hardcore.
Oh, it's amazing.
Ben Mullen, Tetris champ. That's coming up in a few months. Go, Ben. Mike Lawrence, stand-up comedian and host of the Nerd of Mouth podcast. That was a pretty cool thing for him to fill out our survey. Rick Wees, the organizer of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. Scott, former guest from which episode? The Game Junkie episode.
Yeah, Game Junkie.
UK Mike from Retro Gaming Roundup. We appreciate him filling out a survey. And then Focus RS. He's a host of Arcade USA on YouTube. And then we also have our 4 hosts, Tatton, me, Becky, and Steve. Those are the tie-breaking votes, the hosts and guest votes. So,
and even though we didn't have him on a show, Juwario also filled out one of our surveys too.
Oh,
which
did
was
he?
Awesome. Yeah, he did.
I would have totally put him
as
as a guest if I'd known which one was his.
Holy crap! I haven't seen that one yet. That makes me excited, Panda. So
I know,
I'm going to
awesome.
check that out.
That also weighted Densha De Go a little bit higher in the list.
All right, so we'll go ahead. Let's just introduce everybody who's here. I'm Chris. I'm
Tatton.
Cory.
Megan.
Becky.
Chris, number
Pinball
2.
Chris.
Pinball Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like that name?
I don't think I have a choice in the matter now.
Okay.
It has been said,
It's better
so
than
let
Bastard
it be.
Chris.
Yeah.
I'm Steve.
I could be Bastard Chris. That's fine.
I like alliterations. Let's go with Cocksucker Chris.
Cocksucker.
Unfortunately, technically inaccurate.
We're laughing too much. Having too much fun.
Oh, yeah. Quit having fun. Video games aren't fun. They're serious.
What did Delia say? Serious.
Important
about
talking.
Yeah.
Important talking.
Now you're playing with podcasts. It's about important talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's our catchphrase, I think.
So we'll go with the game number 101. We did 101 games because this particular game got 4 votes, and it also got a host vote, and it was the lone game to get 1 host vote. The rest of them above this have at least 4 votes and 2 host votes. So we didn't want to leave this one out. I'll let you guess what this one is. There we go.
anybody?
I know what it is. This is from earlier.
I only know because we were told, but I was guessing Space Invaders because of the doot doot.
Right.
Doot.
But it is asteroids.
Oh.
It is the American Space Invaders.
And whose vote was that as a host?
Oh, who? No, guest vote.
Oh,
not
guest
host
vote. Okay.
Guest vote. Sorry, I said that wrong. So I got 4 votes. 1 for the arcade version, 1 for the 7800 version, 2 for the 2600 version. And another thing here is we had to vote individually in all of these games whether to combine or not combine. So there is no real method to our madness other than it was democratic. So there's some games that we could vote to combine and others we didn't.
There were lots of arguments, but
yeah, we had a pretty intense.
Y'all are going to find out what our arguments were because we're going to be
rehashing them.
But the idea was to combine games so that we could kind of mold our list slightly in the way we want and to include more titles on the list ultimately. We didn't want to have 15 Pokemons on here, for instance.
Well, and we had to fairly weight the games too because, I mean, like especially with the case of asteroids, really each of those versions they're still asteroids at the end of the day.
People just wanted to put their favorite version of
That's
asteroids.
a game that the versions are all pretty close, I'd say. Like
for the most part. I mean, the only thing that really gave to like the arcade asteroids is it's vector based, so it's got like that nice like the cleaner,
really
neat feel on it. Yeah, it's all.
And does it have like a dial?
No, it's 5 buttons.
Okay.
You don't have a joystick. You use a thrust button and a left turn and a right turn and a hyperspace and a fire.
Okay.
Which is crazy because they had one at what was it, GameWorks down at Easton. It was the first time I'd ever played one, and I could not get used to the button layout. It was just completely throwing me off.
The Gaming Grid has an Asteroids Deluxe there.
Do they really?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been there yet.
I would always get when I was little. I would just get sick of not being able to play. I just fly randomly and it spirals and just shoot until I died. So I think everybody's played it that way.
I think I always just sat there and shot and didn't.
That
move.
works too.
Pew 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 pew. I win.
I love the Hummer commercial a few years ago. Do you remember that?
No.
Like there was the asteroids was shooting asteroids, and then you hear the flying saucer sound, but instead of a flying saucer was a vector graphic of a Hummer. And it came straight across, and all the shots bounced off the Hummer. It was beautiful.
And then the voiceover was, "Buy a Hummer, pussy."
Yeah, something like that.
That was it.
Invincible from pew pew guns. Pew pew gun proof. All right, so game 100. See if you recognize this.
Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden.
Gaiden or Gaiden?
Gaiden.
Yeah.
All right, Ninja Gaiden. Game number 100.
Like Mario. Good job.
I like Ninja Gaiden.
Even Gaiden is wrong. Gaiden. It sounds wrong to me.
So is this also a collective, or is
it
this
is.
just
It
the
is.
Nintendo one?
Two votes for. Well, we got 2 votes for the NES of Part 1, 2 votes for NES for Part 2.
Okay.
We kind of.
I voted for the Xbox,
there's no method
so
to our
that's not part of
madness.
this.
We did get some
I love
Xbox
the
votes.
Xbox
We
one.
kept those separate. But we wanted Ninja Gaiden to be on the
No
list.
arcade votes?
No arcade
This
votes.
is a good
God.
combo because Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 are basically the same. I mean, not the same game, but it's just different level packs.
It's a
basically.
it's a story.
Yeah, and it's a continuing story
And
too.
that was one of the really cool things about it was they did the cinematographic intros between, so you had like really neat graphics that take
And
you into
there
the
were
next.
anime before that was
Yeah,
so that
and
popular.
it sounded great. The music on those are just wonderful. Like the cover bands that Tatton and I love to listen to.
Bit Brigade.
Yes.
Is that the one where they like play it while they're?
Yes.
Yeah.
They do a
Yeah, they are the bomb diggity.
The guy
yo,
beats the
and
boss
that's
so
great.
fast though that they can't. They don't play the whole song for the boss.
It's like
It's all-
dun
almost-
dun 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 dun.
Oh, yeah.
And we win.
But just
And I played the game over music, obviously, because if you played this game at all, you're going to hear that several million times, and it's
Almost
also
all
going to
the
make you
time.
hate birds.
Yep. Oh, the birds.
Fucking birds.
Because ninjas hate birds.
Ninjas have
Well,
to
birds
hate
hate
ninjas.
Ninjas
Yeah.
don't eat poultry or something, or maybe they eat too much poultry.
Yeah. They smell of female chicken.
it's hard and
Male
it's
chicken.
a little bit unfair, but you can best it. I think if you
And
play it for a whole day.
This is
you
one of those
might be able to
titles
beat
that Nintendo. I don't know if Nintendo demanded it or it's different in the arcade version. Nobody remembers the arcade version.
The arcade version's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a Double Dragon game, right? Like a beat 'em up.
No,
You're a lot bigger.
Yeah,
You're a lot
definitely a
bigger.
beat 'em up
It has
style.
it has the best continue screen ever.
Yeah, with the saw blade.
Yeah, the saw blade's coming down, and you're like you've
tied
got
up.
arms around you in hell. Like it's metal as fuck.
That
looking that up right now.
Racked me with guilt as a
they also
child.
have
I'm
that
like, I
again,
can't
right?
let him die, but I'm out of money.
Those arcades,
No!
like what was it? Final Fight, where they had like the dynamite in front of you.
Yep,
Those are pretty
Yeah,
goddamn
yeah.
gruesome.
My dude is just sweating here.
But this is one of those third-party games that just everyone seemed to have. I think the cover was really awesome. Moms like to buy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
For moms, it was awesome. I don't know.
I couldn't beat it, but then I rented Wrath of the Black Manta and beat that, so I could feel like somewhat better about
Sweet
myself.
buttery crap.
The game sucked. All right.
Oh my god.
You're looking at the arcade?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty gruesome.
Yarr.
Oh, the saw blade?
Oh yeah.
Crap.
Yeah.
That was not what I was expecting. I was
Oh,
expecting
yeah.
something a little more frou-frou, and that's...
No.
And most of the enemies are all wearing
Jason
like
mask.
they're all wearing hockey masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all look like Jason.
That's going to be my
Oh damn it! I
It's
didn't
going to
put
be awesome.
Splatterhouse down.
Yeah, there's
like
like-
a son of a bitch.
Sorry. Everybody's already.
We all have
Really?
regrets.
Everybody's already regretting what they put down.
You know, that was crazy because we met. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
Last week to go through all these, and like the whole night, I'm just like, there were so many games I had to cut from my list to get the games I really wanted. There were several times where I was like, oh, I'm so sad that I didn't keep it. And I look at my list, I'm like, oh, I did keep it. I cut something else. And then later I was like, oh, I'm sad I cut that.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Coming down to 25 games is really hard. Everybody that did this had lots of problems with it.
Yep.
Well, and I think the thing is like, if we had actually numbered them, I think it would have been easier.
No,
because
I don't think that this list would have been as good.
Well, you just would have hit a cutoff and be like, yep, it's done. But like when you have to just group them together, just
I like not numbering.
25. Yeah, I know. I love not numbering. I think that's awesome. It's so hard.
I couldn't do it. All these are number ones for me. My God. So.
All right, number 99. Sam Fear.
It's like, yeah. This is from Kill Bill.
Anybody?
Nope.
It's Tomb Raider.
Ninja Assault.
Did you write all these down?
No.
Oh, did you just know it was
just
Tomb Raider?
That's my pick.
Oh yeah, it's Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider was your
Tomb Raider
Yeah.
for the PlayStation 1.
Wow.
Yes, and there's a remake of it which is almost as good, but I go back to the original a lot more. It's one of the first games that I felt like I was just living in the world of the game, and you know the levels they don't really tell you what to do ever, and you just kind of wander around them for a while and get the layout and
that-
figure
there's-
out what you need to do.
There's a
Yeah.
brief period of time when Laura Croft was a sex symbol.
Mhm.
Because she was like that first video game with big boobs. Like the
Pointy, very pointy boobs.
Very
Yeah.
pointy
Yeah.
boobs.
My
yeah.
idiot
it was-
brother was like 6 or 7 years old, and he called us upstairs like the house was on fire. Like, oh my god, get upstairs, check this out, guys, come on! So we go upstairs, and all we see is like Laura Croft's tits in the screen. Like, he
Yeah, if
figured
you
out
back
how
into
to
a corner,
Yeah.
the
He
camera.
figured out how to pan
yeah.
the camera in such a way that it was tits, like just there.
And it was, as Becky liked to put it, that awkward adolescence of gaming. Her face just looked like 2 donuts for her eyes. And I mean, for the time, I guess it was cool and all. It's just really. I never got into it.
It was not as prurient as some games of the era, like Death Trap Dungeon, or games that piggybacked off of it, even with the sex symbol kind of thing.
They made a lot of Indiana Jones games after that too. I think it kind of reinvigorated that adventurous.
And it's kind of on a continuum with Prince of Persia, and then that, and then Prince of Persia borrowed from Tomb Raider, even.
Well, and
the
that
3D
was
ones.
that was one of the first ones that really tried to kind of like step away from just the straight first person view and try to add in that third person aspect, like and switch back and forth. Right? Was there like another like
there's
dominant
really-
one then?
Pardon?
Was there another one that like started that, or was Tomb Raider really like the first one to kind of build that concept?
Yeah, I'm
first
hard
one I'm
pressed to
thinking
really
of.
say,
Yeah.
That's the first one I can think
I mean,
of,
a lot of
too.
people compared it at the time to Mario 64, which is unfair. I think.
Mario 64
Completely.
plus dog shooting.
It's because it's a lot more patient, a lot more atmospheric.
Like that music
when
wasn't very good that I played. That was the intro screen.
But imagine that music. But that music's
Is
used in the
atmospheric.
game. But like you'll enter a gigantic room and you're looking across the whole thing,
Yeah.
except for the fog. Where no, you can't draw. but whatever. And it plays that music, and then
Then when
it
you
cuts
wait-
out, and
then-
it's there's no music again.
Then you wait 29 seconds for a loading screen.
Loadings weren't bad. Well, actually, if you died, you had to load.
I don't
constantly.
think I played the first one that much. I played the second one a lot, but I did not put that much time into the first one.
Did anybody ever play the PC ones? Because I mean, this is a PC game as well.
I played the more recent one, but I didn't play
this year. The one new one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a demo of the
fun.
PC one, but I never.
I wonder how much of an improvement PC graphics were, because at that time PCs were like kicking the PlayStation's ass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and I wonder if like
textures were better.
Textures were way better,
and you could render it
same.
at a much higher resolution. What PlayStation could do,
right? I mean, there was a big nowadays. I mean, there's some different. Right, it was. I
wonder if this
wonder.
game though is playable now, like to someone who hadn't played it back in the day, because the controls are so complicated.
That's like there are so many of those PlayStation. Like I just avoid anything that isn't sprites.
I
think it deserves to be on the list though.
Yeah, no, I think I'm not saying it doesn't. Yeah, but I think that there's some things that are really hard to go back to, and the PlayStation One has a lot of that.
We wanted. I think Linda, Becky was saying that she wanted to do like an awkward adolescence at gaming episode where we kind of look at that transition from 2D to 3D, and I honestly think those early 3D games are worse than the Atari games. Like to look at, the early 3D, most of it isn't very endearing at all.
Go back and play like Xenogears. That like has that transition in the game,
right? Although I think they use sprites for the characters.
They use sprites for almost everything until you get into the mech battles, and then when you're in the mech battles, it's polygons and it's jarring.
But the characters are sprites, and the world is 3D. You can rotate it. So
I always got lost in it.
Yeah, those drove me nuts.
All right.
Someone mentions Parappa the Rapper, and Cory's head explodes because he doesn't know what to do.
That was a fun game.
It was.
I love Parappa
I'm more of an jammer Lammy guy.
Dude.
So the less said about Tomb Raider 3, 4, 5, the better.
Yeah,
2 is still pretty good.
Only Tomb Raider 1 got 4 votes, 1 host vote, or not one, or 1 guest vote, not any host votes. All right, number 98.
Mega Man 3.
You didn't ask that in the form of a question.
What is Mega Man 3? Fuck you.
Fuck you. It is a game.
All right. Do you want to let the rock part come in? Or?
I'm sorry. This is.
Wait, do we have music for every
This is
game?
it. This is the Mega Man game that is my absolute favorite Mega Man game. This was the soundtrack to my awkward sixth grade year. Yeah, this is amazing. My best friend and I would sit in the basement and play this for hours on end. When we were in 7th grade, I remember being in shop class and hating shop class. So we would sit there and we would design new Mega Man enemies. And it was all to the Mega Man 3 was what pushed us.
Were you featured in Nintendo Power?
No, we were not.
Okay. Did you send something in?
But golly, it was so much better than those. Oh, no, it was afterwards. But like some of those
one of them actually made it into...
Yeah, I sent in a thing that Nintendo Power with the password cracked for this one, but they gave it to somebody else. But this. So
this is good. Is this the first appearance of Rush? This game?
Yes,
it is. In fact, the first
and
appearance
the
of Rush.
Slide.
And the slide,
yes,
but not the
slide.
Power Buster.
No, that is
in 4.
Because that ruined it. Yeah, I think most people agree.
That killed Mega Man for you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you press it. You're pressing it all the time, and it ruins the music because it's just like it's using one of the sound tracks, and it takes out that part of the music. So.
And this was the kind of the swan song of the NES because the 16-bit systems were just about to come out, or the Genesis was already out. The Super NES was just about to come out.
They made 3 more.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, Mega Man was kind of a joke by the time 4. It was kind of like, oh, this is getting ridiculous. And 5 and 6 were totally.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody laughed at those.
I mean, the other thing too is, these originated out of Japan, so I don't know what the Japanese release dates were compared to the American release dates. I mean, they could have all been, they could have
2 years behind.
we could have been way behind on that.
But it's weird because even the so-called bad Mega Man games are a lot more solid and better than most of the games on the system. So,
and I will say too, I mean, I love Japan, but Japan is like very comically like racial and stereotypical with a lot of things.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
So, I mean, like some of them, especially the later ones, like the Pharaoh Man and stuff like that.
In 6, you can very easily. It's like it's a world tournament, and all these countries have entered their robots, and it's like Blizzard Man is skating around Canada. Very obvious that he's doing this.
Bacon Man.
So what's the best boss in this game, or the best music too?
Honestly, Wily's 3 and 4. His stages 3 and 4. It's this really like when you're going into Wily's dungeon, the music goes from being like happy and upbeat and fun. Like Shadow Man's very jazzy. Like there's a couple of the bands that do like very jazzy covers of it, and Snake Man is fun, and Magnet Man is adorably fun, and like these are cute songs. And then you get to Wily, and like the first one has this darker feel. And then you get to, level 1 and level 2 have the same music, and a little bit darker. And then you get to 3 and 4, and it's a lot darker. And then finally you get to, 5, like when you're going to go in and you're going to fight the bosses again. And it's this really, creepy, it actually gives you more of a feel to the play of the game.
What did you think the first time you played through and had to do the Mega Man 2 bosses?
It was
That
great.
was intense.
Oh my gosh, that was wonderful. And it was one of those screwing with you sort of things. The thing is that my friend at the time, we were sitting in the basement, and she was my best friend. We were sitting in the basement. She had never played through Mega Man 2, but my best friend Adam had. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's Woodman!" And she's like, "Who? Woodman! Oh my god, it's Woodman!" And she's like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, use this because you're gonna win, and then Airman. I was excited.
Well, that was the crazy thing too. Is all the Mega Man 2 Robot Masters, they all had their weaknesses, but then you had a whole new weapon set.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, I can't use our natural weaknesses. What of the new weapons?
I'll use top spin because dancing like a ballet dancer.
That's
is
how you had to win the final
awesome.
boss.
It was actually.
That's the only way to beat the final boss.
It's like shitty bubble lead and shitty top spin. All right, let's use the crappiest things, and that's how you have to kill the final boss.
Chris doesn't seem very interested. You ever played any Mega Mans or anything on the NES? Okay.
Yeah, I'm all good.
I didn't really play that many on the
Mega Man,
NES.
Chris?
Yes,
To be
I
honest
did.
with you.
I remember
Most
having
horrible.
Mega Man 2, and then I also remember getting Mega Man 4 and I want to say the original WWF game for SNES at the same time, and I was like, I don't know which one to play, but one has better graphics and the other is just fun. Wow.
Fun is fun.
I can't listen to the opening of Mega Man 3 without thinking of the Brental Floss cover of that song.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
When we get him on the show, you guys know him.
Yeah, actually, he said he'd do one with us, so we
All
just
right.
have to
Let's get this going.
nail down
Get
a
it
time
together,
and everything.
Get that Mega Buster rolling. Get it?
Yeah. I
Bubble lead.
see what
Yeah,
you
but that bubble lead rolling.
No, but wrong game.
That's
Mega Man
2.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but get the
I always thought it was
search
bubble
snake.
lead. Bubble lead, but lead makes more sense because it's
It does, but
gun.
it doesn't make any sense
It
at all
doesn't,
because
yeah,
it's bubbles.
lead
It's
bubbles.
heavy though,
Yeah.
heavy bubbles. They're heavy.
I guess so.
The
but
Mythbusters
lead-
proved you can float a lead balloon.
That's
Just they did.
true.
Yeah, they did.
They
Made a
killed
lead
3 men
foil.
in the process, but they proved it.
It's all good. I love Mega Man 3. I think Mega Man 3 is. Oh, hey, yeah. Wait, hold on. Yeah, it's
It's
on
yours.
my list.
It's yours.
Oh, yeah. There was a host vote.
It is a host vote because yay,
Host vote for Becky.
hooray!
All right, number 97. Anybody?
No idea.
Super Nintendo, yeah.
Kenny G's Underwater Adventure?
I beat that 70 times, man.
Sorry to hear that.
Harvest Moon.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow, yeah, no.
SNES Harvest Moon, huh?
Well, we got 4 different Harvest Moon games voted for, so the generosity of the 4 of us decided democratically that we should lump it all
Wait,
together.
which 4 did you get voted for?
SNES,
Okay.
3 of Tranquility for the Wii, or
Tree.
that's supposed to be Tree. I
Yeah.
typed that
Tree,
wrong.
yeah.
Tree of Tranquility, Harvest Moon 64, of course, because you gotta have a 64 game, and Friends of Mineral Town for the GBA.
No votes for the PlayStation 1 one.
No, for Back to Nature.
Yeah.
That was the first one that I played too.
Yeah, that one's really good.
No, actually, no. It was the
But
Nintendo
this
64
counts
one.
for it. Yeah, it's the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those poor kids for Christmas got Harvest Moon instead of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time
Yeah, so
because Tatton.
I have to make a confession. So I worked at Toys R Us the year that PlayStation 2 hit, and the same year that not Ocarina of Time, but Majora's Mask
Oh
came
yeah,
out.
sorry.
And so, parents would come in, and we were always sold out of Majora's Mask. And they're always like, "Well, what else can I get my kid for Christmas?" And I'm like, and I picked up Harvest Moon.
You
I'm like,
ruined
this is the greatest
Christmases.
game ever. I'm like, you should totally check out this Harvest Moon game. Like,
Oh,
this is so much
man.
fun. There's farming, and you get to make social interaction and all this stuff. Our store was the only store that was consistently sold out of Harvest Moon. So if you're in Columbus and you're listening and you got Harvest Moon instead of Majora's Mask, I'm sorry.
But here's
So
And if you-
are you?
but
Because
if you
how much
still-
does
Yeah, 'cause
I was
Harvest
gonna say,
Moon
if you
worth?
still have
Well,
it,
also-
it's worth a lot of money, so you're welcome.
So you can go to Jesse's store and.
But also, I think a lot of people that liked Ocarina of Time that got Majora's Mask, like
not
me,
happy.
yeah, we're not
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
at all. Because what the fuck, seriously? I've grown to like it somewhat, but Ooh. Anyway, okay.
Tatton also helped a lot of parents by doing that, though, because the kids got so bored playing Harvest Moon, they actually wanted to go do chores.
Actual farming.
They wanted to actual farming.
It was like, I'm just going to go clean the house now and get actual money instead of like farming. It's going to be better.
And I looked forever for a good piece of music to represent that, and there's some bad music in
You
that
could have
series.
had like fake little cow moos or something. Like, is there cow moo sounds in
It's
there?
not.
I could have, but
The music's not bad. It's just nothing stands out. It's just
It's
ambiance.
not
in
sound
the
It's just
game.
background
It's
music.
just yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
it's
but that was a title screen. That should have been at least like got a melody to it, not. I don't know. It's SNES crappy music.
Did any of you play Rune Factory? Harvest Moon Rune Factory for the DS?
I've picked it up. I haven't played it, but it looks awesome. I love the
It's
concept
insane. Yeah, it's
Do you
like
invent a printing press in it? Never mind.
So these.
I got all
How
excited
does
for
it
like,
rank?
Printing press and alpacas.
So is this kind of like the first of the no real goal type of game?
well, I mean,
You know, like you're sort of like a proto Animal Crossing,
I mean, there was
proto
sim games.
Minecraft.
SimCity. And
yeah, there were plenty of sim games.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
had
mean,
like
well,
sim
man,
ants.
maybe
And
the first
even-
Japanese
I mean,
attempt.
Evo, like you ate animals.
But wasn't there a goal to that? Like it was.
Oh, there was, 'cause you
side-scrolling
kinda-
game.
yeah.
There was, yeah, it was a side scroller.
But maybe like the first Japanese version of console,
Perhaps.
instead of
Yeah,
PC.
I guess it is kind of a proto Animal Crossing.
Animal.
It's definitely on a smaller scale than most anything else because most other things you're managing a lot more resources than just my farm and finding a wife or like whatever small town thing that you're doing. I mean it's it's not managing a megatropolis.
Mm-hmm.
Or the world in popular.
Yeah,
It
but
is-
it's fun.
it's-
I like it.
It's nice. It's nice to turn off the brain, and I'm growing crops. I'm continuing.
I
to
always
grow
found those
crops.
games stressful.
Really?
Yeah, because I'd be like, no, I can work for longer, and then I'd get tired.
And then you get
hungry,
tired.
and I have
Yeah.
to manage all
Okay,
these things.
so I will say, I think the best thing is they've got the best freaking promotional things. We need the puppy, but other than that, we have the alpaca and
Little chicken.
the sheep, and the ox, and the cat, and the chicken, and the cow, and the
Baby
horse,
chick.
And the
there's-
Jack Frost.
oh my god, they
the
are
Jack
the
Frost.
cutest freaking sprites. Like, all of that is just so cute it's wrong. Like, the cows, just like little tiny like Orby cows, like walking around with little tiny like, oh my god, they're so cute.
Very
Well,
cute.
and this is one of those
Round
games
udders.
too that's it's also like Animal Crossing where they had the right idea of you don't have to reinvent the game when you bring a new version out. I mean, you can keep all the stuff that's popular with it and just make some small additions to it, but not just completely turn the whole thing upside down. I mean, it's when you move from one to the other, it's consistent, and some people like it and some people don't. Some people say it's
something
like
new.
Mario game stuff. It's like it's always the same thing, but I kind of appreciate like Green Day and stuff like that, where it's like when I get something, I know it's going to be
Do the
consistent.
new
It's gonna
do
be
the new
same.
ones have farm subsidy bills and stuff to like pay for your corn? and
Grow only corn.
Does it play Jethro Tull's Farm on the freeway? Does anybody know that that's
Now
a song?
destroy all your corn. We do not need it.
You got Monsanto corn in there.
Buy
Buy
more seeds.
You now.
That's actually the DLC pack. Every single time you need to plant new crops, it's
You have to
all
buy DLC of
Monsanto.
Monsanto.
You gotta get
DLC.
Monsanto. Yep.
All right, number 96. Now, this is why I'm proud of my survey taker listeners and hosts and whatnot, because we
it's
have
gotta be
Atari
old.
games on here.
Going to be really old.
Nobody?
No, I'm bad with music though, so
Pitfall 2, The Lost Caverns. Or Lost
Yay,
Caverns.
music!
Yes.
I didn't know that there was music, and there's music. That makes me happy that there was music on it.
They put a special chip on those carts to have
Wow.
music on that game.
Okay, you can't see my face, but I smiles. Yay.
If you played Pitfall 1, it's pretty basic. You just side scroll left and right. You can go above ground or underground, and that's it. Pitfall 2 is completely different. It's almost like Boy and His Blob, because that's kind of the spiritual sequel
Oh,
to
wow.
I never
Pitfall.
played Pitfall 2, so I only
But
played the first
I mean, you go underground several levels, and you swim a bit. You pick up hot air balloons and rise up, and it's a real technical achievement on 2600. We got 2 votes for the 2600 version, 1 for the 52, 1 for the Coleco. It's all basically the same game, although I think the 5200 has a bonus board.
Does
or
it have
something.
randomly generated screens?
No.
Okay.
No,
It's in the first one.
No, the first one's not random either. It was something. It's all technical. Something about the algorithm is random, but then it makes the same map every time.
Okay.
But the weird thing about this one is that you don't have a number of lives. It's like if you die, it just takes you back to the last checkpoint, and like your guy will just Pitfall Harry will travel from where he died back to the last checkpoint, and your score will like count down back to where the checkpoint is.
Oh, okay.
So you can play all the way to the end, but just have no score. If you're have the patience to go all the way through it. It takes a good 20, 30 minutes. I think if you know you're all the way around it, it's still like 10 minutes to play all the way through.
Wow, seriously.
But yeah, it's pretty complex, especially a 2600 game. But
that's awesome. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I haven't really played it either. Like I probably popped it in once or watched you play it once, but
We're gonna have to bust that mother out.
yeah, it's David. It's a classic. It's totally way ahead. I mean, it's proto Mario Brothers, really. All right, number 95. Here we go. This isn't music, but this should give it away.
Somebody get this freaking duck away from me!
Wait, Adventure!
Yay!
See what you did there.
There's really no sound in that game.
It's like a playthrough video that you got?
No, that was a Homestar Runner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was one of the Homestar Runner menus. It was like the Atari menu. And like if you email, tunes, whatever, like the last one, he was running away from the duck with the chalice in his hand and screaming.
It's like Duck Dragon.
Yes, it's the Duck Dragon.
It's the Duck Dragon because duck.
Yeah, I mean it's a legendary game. Warren Robinette made it the first Easter egg in a commercially available game. First like graphical adventure game. Everything up to that was text based or ASCII based.
Yeah,
well, it was so beautifully basic. Like it was just one of those pick up the controller and play.
Yeah,
and
I have never been able to figure that game out either. As many times as I've played it,
it's one you can kind of aren't all the levels mirror image? Like you can see the programming basically and
right.
The tricks he's using.
He used all kinds of tricks to fit that into whatever. I don't know if it was 2K or 4K, but and then there's also randomly generated levels, and the dragons are, even though they look like ducks, they're scary as shit, and it's awesome when they eat you and you're in your stomach, and you just stay there until you reset the game.
That's one I wish I had played that as a kid, because as an adult I loved that game, and I think that like 6-year-old me would have had a blast with that.
I don't think it's hard to go back to if you've used to newer stuff, but I think a lot of that's recognition of the importance of it, and just the idea that you can have a character represented on a screen and go north and you're and on a map, and that's all the stuff we take for granted wasn't even invented yet, right?
Well, and so we picked it up for the TI-99. I don't know if it's the same game, but we're totally gonna have to rock that out.
I don't think that's the same game. I think that might. I have no idea what that is. I mean, I think I have it too.
I don't know what this crap
Whatever.
is. What is
TI-99?
TI-99 garbage
with the
adventure.
It's not Atari.
What? It's not Atari Sega. I don't care about it.
Have you played TI-99 today? No.
Said no one ever.
TI-99 today? No, it doesn't work.
All right, number 94.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh man,
she's on the board.
One of my picks.
Broke the streak.
One of my wife's picks too. We had that at Decathlon, the first one, I think.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
That game is the bomb, diggity.
Game is amazing.
It's just super fun.
I'm okay with the zombies in that one. They're scary. I know. I hate zombies, but I'm okay with it because it's just so much fun. And it's LucasArts. Like, that's Groovy Pants, and it's LucasArts. And
has anyone ever actually beaten this game?
Oh, God, I've never gotten it.
I got
really far in it. This is one that I used to rent a lot. There was a rental place in town that would let you pick 3 games. You rent them on Friday. You could keep them until Monday because they closed early on Sunday. And this was almost always like one of my 3 that I would get, but I never did beat it. So much fun.
2 host votes or 2 guests voted for this one, and all these games in this first group are all received 4 votes total. All for the SNES version. No Genesis love, although that one is kind of inferior. I admit it.
I owned the Genesis version. It was one of the first games I ever owned.
That's awesome.
Aww.
That's fantastic.
It's so much fun. Honestly, another one to try, and we need to bust it out sometime soon, is The Fireman. It's like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, only
you fight fire.
You fight fire instead.
Awesome.
It's super fun. And
It's
there's
fantastic.
like bosses and stuff in it.
Did they ever re-release Zombies Ate My Neighbors? There was talk about it coming to like Xbox Live Arcade or something.
Now that Disney shit their LucasArts license, it's probably in
IP hell now.
Oh,
I was
did
hoping
they
they maybe
do a
like,
sequel.
They're waiting to add
or
the
something like a weird sequel.
DRM to
I think
it.
they said
EA,
Grabbed
right?
by the Ghoulies was supposed to be like a spiritual successor, but I never saw
But
it.
we know better than to grab kids by the ghoulies.
That's the only place I grab the kids by.
Now you're playing with children.
Give me your ghoulies!
And that's just wrong.
Sounds like South African slang.
Oh, man. All right, number 93.
This is
Metroid Prime.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Hey, we
Nice.
Metroid
Similar opening
Prime.
music to Tomb Raider, I always thought. But
Okay,
no,
Metroid Prime. So were the Metroids scored separately then?
yes.
Okay.
Well, this particular one, Metroid. There was one vote for Metroid Prime Trilogy, which we added to the 3 other Metroid Prime votes.
Okay.
So,
Did we keep Metroid Prime 2 and 3 separate? Or did we combine all
did.
the Metroid Prime series?
we did. We kept them separate, and I don't think any of the other ones got a vote. Actually, I
Yeah.
think these are the only 4 that appeared on
Well,
the
somebody
whole list.
Okay,
threw
that
the
makes sense.
trilogy on there. The
Yes.
Metroid
Yeah.
The
Prime
first one
trilogy,
is
but we still
the
count
best.
it. Yeah, 'cause-
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 and 3 are okay. They're just copies of the first one.
I mean, I only played 1 and 3. I had heard that 2 was kind of eh.
Yeah.
it does have like a Dark World kind of thing if you like Link to the Past.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean, I
yeah.
love Link to the Past,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that one was great. I was actually really surprised when I first played Metroid Prime how much it felt like a side-scrolling Metroid game while being in first person.
And there have been no other games that feel like that.
Yeah.
So it's a one of a kind thing.
Yeah.
You know what got 0 votes? Metroid Other M.
Oh, poor Metroid Other M. It wasn't
What
that
about
bad.
Yeah, I know.
Metroid
kinda like-
Prime Hunters Pinball?
Or Metroid Prime Hunters.
Metroid Prime is another one of the very few games I think, and this is another my votes too, Metroid Prime, that I was in the world of the game while playing it. It's only happened like 3 or 4 times for me. So, but the fact when you fire into a wall and you see the reflection of Samus's eyes,
Yeah.
oh my god! And I didn't even see that until about 10 hours into the game too. Like when you're in the ice world, yeah,
Yeah.
the little things they added to it.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. GameCube actually had a lot of really cool stuff, surprisingly. So.
Well, and that was that Nintendo's first first-person shooter that they jumped into?
I mean,
That
technically
and
it
there was their
Retro
first
Studios.
farming out to a Western developer. Well, like one of their major
Yeah,
franchises.
it had disaster written all over it when you heard
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, Metroid, it's a first-person shooter, and it's coming from Texas. Yeah, it's going to...
Yeah, that's from Texas. That's a ticket.
Ended up being one of the best games on the GameCube, so...
Yeah.
I wanted to like this, but I am completely horrible and get lost in first-person games. So
Well, and I mean, it's a
appreciated
Metroid
it.
game, so you're supposed to get lost.
It does have a
anyway,
really
so.
good map feature, though. Like, when you open up the map, it's always oriented exactly how you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 3D, and yeah. It's kind of like a map in the game Descent.
So is it Prime because like that's the quality of the meat that you get from the Metroids after you
Yes.
fry them?
Yes.
So it's
So, Chris, you picked up on this music pretty quick. Did you spend a lot of time on this series, or
Yeah, I definitely like Metroid Prime.
was this on your list?
I believe it should have been. I hope it was.
Oh God.
we don't have
There's a
Corey's
lot of-
list with us, unfortunately. We have Chris's.
Fuck my list.
Oh wow, thank you.
I did. That's why I couldn't bring it.
Oh, Corey's picks are so good. I'm gonna cut a hole in this and do it.
Oh no, it's not on here because I had to put Killer 7 on there. I swapped it.
It's the same thing I did. There were so many games
I know.
I pulled out.
And the worst part was I went through the list on Facebook and I immediately regretted some of my picks because I was like, wow, Super Castlevania IV is really good.
Mhm.
But holy crap, all of these other games are really, really good. It made
It's
decisions
tough
hard.
to narrow it down to
It is.
25, man.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
Yeah. But I'm fairly happy with what I put.
All right. So number 92. Oh. I gotta
Yeah,
turn it-
I don't recognize this at all.
Is it Pootie Tank?
Oh, Phantasy Star Online.
Chris again.
Oh,
We should be keeping score.
That is a game that I spent a lot of time with.
Oh my god.
What was it?
Fantasy Star Online.
Oh God.
Oh god, yeah.
I couldn't do it. I tried. I couldn't do it.
No?
No, for me it was. I was like,
How old-
conceptually I thought it was cool, but I had already played EverQuest, and it felt like such a shitty MMO after playing EverQuest for 3 years. Like I was like, really, this is your MMO? No
I
thanks.
think that's kind of the beauty of it, though, because it was so stripped down and simple
Mhm.
that I
I think that's why it hooked me for so long. Of course, I got it like the first 3 months, and it was all into it, and I maxed out my character. Then I tried to come back with version 2, and then it had been hacked to shit, and it was terrible at that point. But those 3 months that I had with this game, holy.
I think that sometimes this stripped down. For me, I like things that are
robust
and difficult. Like I like hard games. I didn't feel like a sense of accomplishment while playing that game as much as I would say EverQuest, because there was so much on the line.
But since we're not talking about EverQuest, stop shitting on it. What do you think, Chris?
Fuck Phantasy Star.
So this is more of a personal choice because at the time I really didn't have a gaming PC or anything else.
Did you vote for it?
Yeah.
Oh, so did I.
Actually, before you start, which version did you start with? The GameCube or the Dreamcast?
Dreamcast.
Nice.
All 4 votes are for Dreamcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I had a dial-up modem. I lived out in the country. This was pretty much the first time I got to play like an online game. So hop on there, and you have a bunch of people that are interacting with each other. I saved up, worked my ass off, got the keyboard so I could interact too. And then as soon as I did that, just about every American player left, and it was just Japanese players, and I couldn't understand a thing.
You didn't use that little instant translator that took 20 minutes?
Oh yeah, I did. But as you're fighting dark fowls or whatever it was,
bonsai trees are my hobby.
Run.
Those are the random phrases you
can. Like you're about to get hit really hard in the face. No, it didn't work out too well. But it still was a really good experience. The music was good. The entire thing all the way around was really good.
And you've got to give him credit for attempting that system, too. I mean, some kind of, like, universal language system in a game on dial-up, like, that's kind of a big undertaking.
That whole game was ambitious.
Like, that's a great risk.
I mean, a console RPG with, it's not a console MMO. I mean, it's obviously EverQuest and PCs are going to have the advantage for that sort of thing, but it's a hell of a try, and it's a good franchise for them to pull it in, and it was a great experience.
I also kind of feel like that killed Phantasy Star as a franchise, though. Because then the only Phantasy Star games we've gotten since then have been PSOs, and
Phantasy Star Universe is
really
pretty terrible. And they tried to make it more complex with Phantasy Star Universe, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, can we just have another fucking Phantasy Star game? Like another role-playing game? That'd be cool.
The problem is, too, Phantasy Star had been dead up until PSO came out.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one was
94.
Yeah,
or
Genesis.
even 93.
And I mean, all it had was just re-releases, like on the Saturn and elsewhere.
Was it subscription based or was it
The first one was not. The second one was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Card Revolution can just go and die. It can go and die real hard in the face.
Coincidentally, no votes for that one.
No! Oh, man.
And actually, the reason why Video Game Roulette died is because I drew the card battle, and I've been dragging my heels for a year.
Is that what happened? We'll do that tonight before I leave. I'm gonna make you play that.
It's like, hey, we booted it up, and there's the boot up screen, and this is too fucking complicated, and we win! Yay! Next game.
I'm the biggest Phantasy Star fan ever, and I couldn't even get into that shit. That's how. All right, number 91. I think everybody will know.
Funky
this one.
Shines.
Everybody voted for.
Oh,
geez.
MVC2.
Yeah. Start the hype.
All the hype.
DDR.
Where your curly mustache at?
Another Dreamcast classic. Although we got one vote for the Xbox Live Arcade version.
Boo.
Which is exactly the same as the Dreamcast one.
No.
Actually, it's different because I put the Dreamcast one on for mine, and apparently this is a big hatred thing for the fighting game community. But I absolutely love this feature in it. The Marvel Capcom 2 for the Dreamcast didn't give you all of the characters and all the content right out of the gate. Like, you just had, a little section in the middle, and you had to win and, earn points and then beat the game, and you could unlock other characters through that.
I was salty as hell for that feature.
Go online with your Dreamcast and download the game save.
Yeah.
Which you could do easily.
I rented MVC the day it came out, and I'm like, I'm going to play this. Had people over. It was going to be awesome. We start up the game, and there's 5 dudes. And you're like, did I get the wrong version? Am I missing something? And then we look online real quick, and after 20 minutes on dial-up, you have to unlock all the stuff. So yeah, that was a bust.
I wonder if that site's still around. If you can still, I don't have a dial-up anymore. I don't even have a landline in my house to find these things if I could.
Yeah.
What do you think about the music? Controversial. Is it endearing now, or is it still shitty?
I think it's shitty and hilarious at the same time. Like,
would that be part of the butthurt rock genre?
No, that's
No,
like
not really.
Frank Zappa, terrible jazz.
so some of my favorite stuff actually when I was
Did you just
kind
diss
of
Frank Zappa?
in the
His jazz records, yes.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of in the fighting game community where the people that took their copies of that for Dreamcast and
Brett
actually,
did that.
Yeah, and they actually put their own mixes of music in the game.
The one
to
at the
replace-
store had the Knight Rider theme.
It was pretty spectacular.
Now, strangely enough, like the whole jazzy fighting game thing worked out really well for Street Fighter 3 because it had kind of that hip hop undertone to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
it was
this
awesome.
is just completely
Third
like
Strike, especially. I think the first one wasn't as it was weird. Third Strike had the cool hip hop music.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it. I like the cheesy music. I think because the first one was so hyperactive and heroic, and then this one they take it back. But there's like, I was about to have a heart attack, and the game is so manic. It's nice to have that little bit of counterbalance.
DDR.
It does. That's what I
It's
thought.
like DDR, and then I want to play as Spider-Man. Like, wait, what?
Like
No.
Japanese people producing English music.
Yes,
in the
absolutely.
90s sound.
Show me your moves.
I will say one thing that I have a gripe with on that game is when you get into the higher tiers of playing it, like, there is nearly zero balance in that game. Every tournament fight you see of people playing are the same 4 characters with one of the characters swapped out because it's 3 versus 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so unbalanced. It's Sentinel, Storm, Magneto, or Sentinel, Psylocke, Magneto.
It was also Dr. Doom and Strider and whoever the hell else. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Strider was in it. Holy shit,
Yep.
that made
We
me happy.
have his action figure
Well, he was
up
in the
on our
first one.
mantle.
He was in the first one too, though, wasn't he? Strider.
Yeah, Strider's in
Yeah.
the first one.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like who can cheese the other guy first?
Yep.
And then it's just infinite combos. And the new MVC is the same exact way. Like if you watch,
Is it really? I haven't played the new one.
it's Doctor Doom.
It should always be Dr. Doom, though.
And somebody else. It doesn't usually matter. Generally, I want to say it's Wesker, and it's just who gets the dust off first, and it's just juggle until you drop
it's
it.
actually kind of a boring game to watch people play because it just turns into infinite juggles on either end
And yelling.
It's a really fun game until you get good at it.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah,
amazing
exactly.
game until you get good at it.
And that's never going to happen for me. So
Yep.
So it will remain fun for you.
Yeah,
Everyone
which
wins.
is awesome.
like
yeah.
pinball.
One of the
Marvel
reasons
versus
why
Capcom's-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the reasons why I really liked the whole like character unlocking thing on this one though is when this came out. I mean, the internet was prevalent, but the whole like whatever we're in right now, where a game comes out and you've seen playthroughs, you've seen every
Video
character
wasn't
announcement.
prevalent yet. in 99.
Yeah, I mean, like
2000.
there were actually surprises. Like when you beat something and you unlock someone, something new showed up in the shop. Like it was like, holy crap, Ken is actually in here. Holy crap, this character's actually in here. Like that was kind of a big deal. You don't get those surprises anymore. I mean, by the time a game comes out, you know exactly what's happening, and you're just playing through what you've already seen on YouTube.
I think it's also the first instance of like awesome fan service. Just like the throwing so many things in a kitchen sink. This is the first time they tried that, and
Yeah.
I haven't gotten none of that stuff's gotten old for me for games that do
the
that.
huge list of assists was awesome. It's like, who did I get this time? Holy crap! This random ass dude from like Marvel that I've never ever seen before. Now I have to go look
just
him up.
flew by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Servbot.
Does it have Squirrel Girl?
Servbot, fucking
No,
Servbot.
the game
but,
still
oh my god,
exists.
she should totally be.
She would destroy everything immediately.
She would beat
that
the
would
crap.
Be an instant
Yeah,
win.
Squirrel Girl would. Yeah. Oh my god, she'd be broken. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd
she
be
beat
broke as
Doctor
hell.
Doom. She beat Doctor Doom and Ultron, and she's
Thanos?
just beaten.
Didn't she beat Thanos?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
beat Thanos. Yeah,
Okay.
seriously, I think she would be like the most wonderful unlockable. And she's Squirrel Girl. She needs to show up on the big screen.
There was actually talk about her being in the Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3 because I guess something leaked that it was someone from that group ended up being Rocket Raccoon instead. I was so disappointed.
Poo pants.
All right, number 90.
Moving on.
Well, keep talking. I'm not. I heard
Goodbye.
it all.
Move on, Chris. Move on. We're done.
You sure?
Goodbye,
Yeah.
comic
I
book
have said
nerds. We're on
boo
to
pants.
games.
Go on.
Gonna take you for a ride.
Gonna take you for a ride.
All right. Here we go. Number 90.
Oh yeah,
Bomberman.
And point goes to Becky, although we're not keeping score.
A million.
We're not
points
giving
for
grades
Becky.
either.
We're doing the Drew Carey.
Who's layers it anyway?
I will
It don't
honestly
matter.
be surprised if I get one of the musical things. I'm so bad at it.
Oh my god! Well, we're such music geeks anyway that like I'm at work and I'm like I'm working and I'm also listening to video game music and no one can stop me now.
So
we sang for a good 20 minutes in the car too, all of us.
Hell yeah!
Last
Yeah,
week.
no, that was great because we were in the car like driving. Were we driving home from Cincy?
We were
Down
going
to or from.
Yeah, and we were like driving, and it was like, oh, well, we need to talk about this game, and we're like, sing the theme song, like, da-na-na-na-na-da-da-da-da-da. And like we all chimed in because music is important.
And we're nerds.
And we're nerds.
So we're kind of going with Saturn Bomberman for the.
Well, yeah, we selfishly
Bomberman
wanted
the
Bomberman
series.
on the list, so we took the TurboGrafx 16 vote, the 2 Saturn Bomberman votes, and Super Bomberman for the SNES vote.
Why
and
did you pick
combined
that music then?
Because it was prevalent in all the versions with the multiplayer stage,
Dun, dun,
kind of,
dun, 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 dun.
and it was recognizable.
Yeah. Fuck kangaroos.
Fuck kangaroo.
What? But if
See,
you
I've
have
only
a
played the
kangaroos,
Saturn
they
Bomberman
win.
the one time at the
Exactly.
Hexadecathlon.
Yeah.
It was
One
quite
person gets to
possibly
gain
one of the
the
most
true.
insane, like 5 seconds of me being alive in anything ever. So
Exactly, it's awesome.
Yep.
It's a
love
game
Saturn
that I mean,
Bomberman.
if you get it all set up, like Chris has done a couple times, people like it. So
yeah, it's fun.
it was how many players? 10?
10.
Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 twice.
It was
we
one of
did
that
it-
I remember reading about when it first came out, and I was like, well, first of all, I don't know anybody with a Saturn. I don't have a Saturn. So I'm probably never going to get to play this 10-player Saturn Bomberman, and now we all have. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
The first time I played it was at Cincy Classic on the 5 play. I think it was a TurboGrafx version with 5 players, and that was nuts. And then you read about the legendary Saturn version with 10 players, and I finally made it a dream that it's happened twice now, and maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
So much
I'm actually
fun.
really sad about this one too because this one should have been on my list and I just realized that I screwed up and I didn't put it on there and I accidentally put
It made the top
something else on
100.
there.
He
Yeah,
You
I
made
know.
it. Talk
I
about it.
made it, but
Heap praise upon your favorite game that you forgot to mention because you hate it.
this is actually my all-time favorite game. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wait,
love this game.
Bomberman-
All-time
Bomberman was
favorite
your
that you
favorite,
didn't
sis?
put on your
But I
list.
didn't put on my list. I said, look like, yeah, this is totally my vote, and it's not on here.
So it is your 26th.
It is my no. It should be my number 1 if we were.
Really? Wow.
Wait, really?
Yeah. This
It's
is-
easy. It's easy to forget stuff when you have to only do 25.
Yes, I
and-
forgot that certain games
so much
existed.
fun, and it's
Yeah.
playable by yourself because it's actually fun to play by yourself.
Do you like the single-player version? I can't say I'm a
I-
huge fan.
I do.
I'm
I
okay
played,
with
I
it.
played 2 on the NES, and I heart pandas for that. So
I
then-
played the shit out of the first one.
I beat the
And
first
we-
one, yeah.
And we courted when we were playing it on the Xbox. So
The Saturn-
Xbox Live, like on the 360.
The Saturn version, 1 player, is just fun to look at. So
Really?
Yeah,
and
I-
the
Yeah.
way you get between levels too.
But in any of the versions, even Mega Bomberman for the Genesis, TurboGrafx has several versions.
Astro
Saturn
Bomberman
Mario
for
Blast.
your
Yeah, Wario Blast.
Boy.
Although
Atomic Bomberman.
avoid anything 3D. I don't care for those.
No,
The
those are
Dreamcast version,
Yeah.
They're-
64 version.
the 64 version is in it, and then the especially atrocious the shit award goes to Xbox Bomberman, where they tried to make him look like
Oh no, that's
X-Zero?
the best game ever. I don't know. Bomberman X-Zero or X-Zero? Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
X-Zero. Thank
is that what they
you.
called it? With
Yeah.
like they Americanized him and
Oh my
tried
god,
to make
dude.
him like Bomberman.
For a while there, I wanted to
Bomberman.
collect-
X-Zero.
In a world where men bomb in caverns.
It was really bad. It was
and
so
kangaroos.
it was so
period.
bad it was like almost unplayable though. Like you couldn't get past like the first level without wanting to gouge your eyes
You
out.
know, now that I'm talking
It
about it, I
was
think I need to
unplayable.
find a copy. I'm sure it can't be that expensive.
What do you
Oh,
mean?
no.
I
Sounds
haven't
garbage.
seen it in years.
Yeah, I
It's been
haven't seen it
forever since I've
either.
seen a copy.
I think it might be one of those things like it's going to be like Shaq Fu, where everybody's
Yeah,
like,
Hex of
it's
the
terrible,
Crapalon.
terrible, terrible.
We keep
Oh, Hex of the Crapalon.
we keep talking about that. You have to have it here soon. You got your basement clean finally. Just saying.
Jeez.
Yay, we can have a crappy one in our basement. Thanks.
Well, fine. I'll have it in mind. But whatever. Have a party here already.
Clean of the flood that destroyed it.
Yeah.
You mean, okay.
Now, what I do have to say, what I love about this game is it's easy. Like, it is absolutely easy to learn. You can learn it in, like, 2 minutes. It takes, one game,
Hit
whether
button,
you know how
drop
to play
bomb.
any
die.
video games
Don't
at all
die.
or not, and have fun. Like, this is one of those, like...
Pay attention, not blow self up. Oh, blow self up. Play again.
When we had our Corks tournament, everybody was screaming and yelling, and everybody was like, "What the hell's going on back there?" And then wanted to get into it after
Yeah.
we started the tournament. So hopefully next year we'll have more participants.
And I've got to say that some of my favorite memories of this game, too, are my nieces and nephews weren't allowed to have, like, video games when they were growing up, but they were allowed to have, like, I was able to talk to my sister and let them have, like, Game Boys. And I'd always get all of them Bomberman, because they couldn't have, like, violent games, but she let them have Bomberman. And, like, every time, like, we'd be in the car for, like, 9 hours drive to get down to North Carolina. And, like, as soon as I walk in the door, tired and exhausted, go to put my stuff down, there's 3 Game Boys set up on the table. Link cables are all set. The 4th one's laid out waiting for me. And we played Bomberman for like 2 hours.
That's kind of interesting because Cory has the same like Game Boy, not allowing to have video games except for Game Boy Story too. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This just came to me. Is there anybody who knows Metal Gear Solid? Isn't there a boss that's like a Bomberman level kind of? It's on a grid and you have to lay bombs. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it clearly based on Bomberman? Would you say no? Okay.
Bomberman. Bomberman.
Coo. You have to add the last like syllable to it. Bomberman. Coo. I don't know.
All
it's
right.
probably inaccurate, but
yeah. That's sorry, I'm the dick.
Probably.
Bomberman.
This is gonna get racist real quick. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. 89.
Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, we've been only 8 seconds of that. We'll get sued. One of my picks, I believe. I think. I'm pretty sure I put this one.
I'm gonna be so mad if somebody else monetizes us before we do.
Under 8 seconds, and we talked about how great the Offspring were.
No,
the Schmoffspring.
No, I love that song, and if I were driving down the highway and heard this song, I think I'd probably going about 120 all of a
You'd
sudden.
immediately start swerving everywhere.
And going in between lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
And
this is another game that
looking for money signs over
people
people's head.
standing around outside.
Take me to the original Levi's. Where is it? There are none.
Take me to the church.
Yeah. Why is it whenever I start up my car, someone says,
Hey, come on down and play some Crazy Taxi. And you're like, oh, God, it's going to happen.
Between
that
and
I
the
think is a sign
Daytona
of
theme.
schizophrenia, dear.
the Daytona theme, it's about to happen.
How quickly after the Dreamcast came out did this come out?
It was a good 6 months at least.
Really? Okay, it seems
was,
like a lot earlier.
It was still
to me.
fairly
Like,
early
the
on,
arcade
though.
game was out, and Tad and I played the shit out of the arcade game, and I just wanted Dreamcast so bad for this game, and that was the...
This is one of the ones that we imported, too. I mean, I remember...
You imported it, I didn't. But
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't making crazy money yet.
I remember...
Crazy money!
Crazy money.
And then this was in Hexathlon too.
Yes, and
some people hated it because the controls are a little bit complicated, but
I think people
It's
hate the
arcade
Offspring
racing,
now.
I mean.
I suck. I suck at it. It's neat and it has neat music and it looks pretty, but I suck. So hard
And the
at it.
sequels aren't as
It's not
great,
turn-based.
and the remakes without the Offspring totally not worth it.
No.
They just released it for Android today.
It's like
I can't
50%
imagine
of
how
the-
terrible that
okay.
is.
quite as good.
This is one of those games where just like everything lined up perfect.
It was that
the
product of its
soundtrack
time.
was wonderful. The art style was great. The ads and stuff they had in it.
The ads I didn't mind.
The
Yeah.
Levi, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, all that
Yeah, it
stuff.
made it a little bit
actually
more real.
like made it like it gave a character. Like I mean, this
Tower
was
Records.
just-
They don't exist anymore. Womp womp. Well, they might, but not really.
It's like one of those perfect storms of like just a fantastic game.
Yeah, very much like the Tony Hawk games. Like
Yeah.
the soundtracks for those games
Similar.
are memorable up
Yeah.
until like the fourth one, and then it just kind of fell off. But at the time, the first three were just incredible, not only from a gameplay perspective, but a soundtrack perspective.
And that was, yeah, well, we're not talking about that game.
No, we're not.
Yeah, not yet.
Sorry.
All right.
Yet.
Man.
Spoiler alert.
88.
Food fight?
Food fight.
Yeah.
Yes. Du-du-du-du-du.
This one just makes me happy that it's on this top 100.
I never played Food Fight.
Number
What?
88.
What?
Let's see.
Wait, didn't we? Wasn't it Hex to the Castle?
He wasn't at the first one.
Corey. It's
Was
fun.
It's the
Was
best game on the
Food Fight at the first
7800.
yeah,
Huh?
definitely.
That was at the first one. I think that was Steve's pick. And I think he voted for it. And we two hosts voted. Who else voted? Did you vote for it? Tom?
I did. Yeah, I voted
And
for it.
Sam voted for it too. I know.
So we got 3 votes for 7800 version, 1 vote for the arcade version. We had to have it on the list, so it got Voltron on there.
I've never played in the arcade, but it's definitely the best game on the 7800, and it's worth having the system for.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Because I don't think it's on any other systems.
What's the character's name?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
He's so memorable.
Food Fight Freddy. Is that like Fab Five
Fab
Freddy?
Five Freddy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
So did you have a 7800 growing up? How did you get into it?
My friend had one.
Okay.
Yeah, and handful of games, handful of 2600 games, but everybody seemed to have Food Fight, so yeah, he had it, and we would just play it. That was the game we'd play the most probably on the system, and it has the replays, so it kind of determines if you've had a lot of close calls in the level. It gives you a replay, and that's almost as much fun as playing the game. Also, the use of the weapons, like the watermelons, are unlimited.
Unlimited watermelon.
Like the cupcakes, you run out, and
you always have to remember to carry like one piece of food with you to the next board.
Yeah. And the timer is really clever because it's a melting ice cream cone.
So how did you play? Did you try to point press and kill as many chefs as you could?
No, just get to the end.
Just get to the end.
Yeah, just get as high as you could.
So how far did you get? Did you get to like level 100 and shit?
Oh no,
because you see YouTube videos of people.
Because I had to play with the god awful
the Pro line
controller. Yeah.
I think my highest was level 101 or 102. I don't remember which one of those two, but that was the highest I got as a kid. As an adult, I can't do it again.
Can I ruin it for everybody?
Is there a kill screen?
No. Food Fight is also known as Charlie Chuck's Food Fight.
Charlie Chuck!
Well, because he chucks food.
Wait, it works. Charlie Chuck's Food Fight.
It's just a bizarre game. You're fighting the chefs. I guess the chefs are mad that you're throwing food. So
and they're all French chefs too, aren't they?
Yeah, they all have
Pierre and
you're mostly throwing raw ingredients too.
Yeah. You're just in the kitchen, basically, killing chefs.
Salmonella bomb.
Yeah.
All right, number 87.
Apparently, it's called Berserk.
So yeah, Berserk. Becky's pick.
I totally picked that.
3 votes for the 2600 version, 1 vote for the arcade version. The arcade version.
I'm gonna take that away because you said that I put down multi-platform because I was on anything, and then you automatically changed that over to the first thing it was released for. So you said arcade, but honestly, if I were gonna pick my favorite, it would be on the Vectrex because that was the first one that I really got into.
Did you say Fair enough. Vectrex?
Yes, because Tatton and Chris got me a Vectrex while they were out. I was like working the table. That was like a first weekend we were together.
Oh, yeah. That's how you get into a girl's pants. Buy her Vectrex.
Vectrex and get her.
That is a panty dropper right there.
It would work.
Notice I'm not denying it because
confirmation.
You turned around. So yeah, no.
Wait, what?
Apparently it did work.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Well, and you and Chris got us the one that has
the voice enhanced for the 2600.
Enhanced for the 2600 on Atari Age. Who does awesome repros, and everybody should go to Atari Age and get it because it tells you to fight like a robot chicken.
Fight like a robot, or I can play it again, I guess. But
God,
turkey.
you humanoid.
Turkey. Oh, that's.
Sorry, not.
Fight like a robot.
So
man,
great.
so scary.
And it literally killed a man. Some kid was playing this back in the 80s.
2 people, maybe.
And played it so long he had a heart attack and died. So, fuck yeah, Berserk's hardcore.
Aww. Did he fight like a robot?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Fights like a zombie now.
Too soon.
Fight like a robot, die like a human.
Hold on a second. So is that technically a maze game?
Yeah.
Since we were having a conversation
Yes,
about
I think it made their
games.
list.
Yeah, so technically that is a maze game.
Even though it doesn't really go anywhere.
So if you haven't played it before, it's wonderful. You are a person trying to get through a maze full of robots, and you have to shoot them, and they shoot at you, and you...
It's fun.
And they can kill each other, too.
The robots are delightfully stupid. They run into the walls and kill themselves and shoot each other.
You can't run into the walls because the walls will kill you.
Doom,
and then
like
there's
that.
the smiley bouncing face of Doom.
Yes, the
Evil Otto.
homicidal Evil Otto.
With the ironic smiley face, which is like kind of like the first instance of that in pop culture.
There's a customer at my library who has got to be 9, and she asked me about if I knew what Evil Otto was. I thought that was amazing. This is a customer who plays Donkey Kong on the computer, and so there's hope.
We need to get her on the freaking podcast.
I know. Well, she'll just talk about Pokemon though now. So our Pokemon games.
Hey, I mean, a 9-year-old into Pokemon. I don't know. Yeah. So, or anything else?
Actually, I do have to say, too, for anyone who's a collector or getting into video games and has an Atari, seriously, like, none of the Atari games on this list are expensive, and they're all wonderful. Like, use this list as the first games you should track down, because these are all just amazing picks.
If you like to play games,
our list has Atari games. That's why we're betting on
play a
IGN.
game.
Have you played Atari today?
All right, I bet you nobody's played this one today. Number 86.
Hold on, it's on the
Road
Genesis.
Rash?
What's that?
Road Rash?
Turtles?
Close. Not Road Rash. Turtles, nope.
It's
Twisted
not
Metal?
Skitchin'.
Not Skitchin. Same company.
It's all about Skitchin'.
Yep.
This is awesome.
John Madden Football.
Oh, well, yeah, but it kind of gets that number because somebody... How did the votes go for this?
We got, all right, we
People are probably
got
getting
one
mad at
kind of lame vote for Madden Series. We got a couple of votes for Madden Series because so when that happens, I just put the first game of the series. We got one vote for 93 Championship Edition, one vote for 94, and one vote for 98.
So that's fantastic, though.
It's
considering
all
that
the
it's-
16-bit versions except for the PlayStation version, which was still a 2D game, that 98 version.
Which is awesome.
And-
That thank you, our listeners. Yay
Did you
for
just listen? I mean, that music was freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And
That
that is awesome rock and Genesis music.
Yes.
And it tricked all of us.
Yes, it did. But I mean, that's when it was. Madden has a definite part in history, and it deserves to be on the list.
Football genre.
Well, yeah,
games?
after 2005, absolutely, and nobody voted for it after 2005, except for maybe those guys that just put the whole series. But they lose, we win.
One of the things that I really miss, and I wish they'd re-release, is back in the day when G4 was actually cool. They had this series on there called Icons that was just like a documentary about different games and game genres or developing companies or people or whatever. And they did one on Madden that was actually really interesting to watch because I remember at the time, wasn't it 5-on-5, 4-on-4?
They put it like it wasn't full 11-on-11, and he wouldn't put his name on the game until it had 11-on-11.
Yeah, and he actually like
he said,
yelled,
"Fuck you guys, go back to the garage and fix it."
Yeah,
So-
like he yelled at me. He's
boom,
like,
tough acting, Tinactin.
I mean, that's
Ace is the place.
And him pushing it, it's actually like why football games got better. I mean, back then that was a really big deal. I mean, now they've completely ruined it. But
No, but those the Genesis games. This was one of the games that put the Genesis on the map.
Good source of empty cases for replacing broken
Yeah,
cases.
no joke.
Madden.
But that music is fucking cool. I don't care what any of y'all say.
No, I didn't say the music
We
was
all
bad.
agreed.
It was cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
We need to hear a
I
rock
just-
cover of it.
I would just
In
much
fact,
rather there was
Daniel
still
Tidwell,
games
go.
instead
In
of
fact,
Madden games.
the Super NES version of that same song, it's like cheesy SNES sounding, and the guys say Madden in the background. Let me see if I can find that real quick.
Madden.
Yeah, that's the thing about the EA games, like the EA Sports games. Growing up, that was the sound you wanted. As soon as you heard that like weird kind of square wave-ish rumble, it's Madden time. There's going to be a lot of hype. There's going to be a lot of yelling. Someone's probably going to get punched in the face. Yeah, no, there's no hype behind that. I'm sorry.
What year was that?
93.
It doesn't have the little yellow.
That
block
is
on the
fantastic. I seriously want some parachute pants.
Wish granted.
But I mean, those games, early EA, everybody shits on them now, but early EA was very punk rock and very they were like Activision in the early days. They were all about the creators of the games, and they had nice packaging. And the EA games were special with the Genesis games, even with the little yellow tab and the nice thick instruction booklets. And they gave everybody full credit on the title screen of who programmed it. It was a completely different company than what we got today.
yeah,
The
early
early
EA
Madden
was amazing.
Yeah, the early Madden games is really how I learned to watch football and break down plays and stuff like that because I kept getting
And the
stopped.
ambulance! Oh my god, I can forget the
Yes.
ambulance.
So did you know how to play football before that?
No.
So you learned from the video game?
Yeah, I kept getting stomped by everyone on my street because that was like the thing. It's Friday night. We're all going to hang out at someone's place and play Madden until our eyes bleed. And I had no idea, A, how to play Madden, B, how football worked to that degree. It was like, oh, he has the ball and he runs. So that kind of forced me into learning how football worked. And it was a very good tutorial into how plays work and, how screen passes work and all the
I
other
don't
fun
think
stuff.
the kids are getting the same education with today's game.
That makes me
Notice I
really
say
happy.
game singular.
That makes me really happy to hear that because mean, mine was a little bit different because I'm sure you were a lot younger than I was, but I've never paid attention to football, even though we're Buckeye country. But Chris actually taught me how to play football so we could play 2K1 together on the Dreamcast.
Oh, 2K1 was fantastic.
Yeah, like that. Like I learned to play the video game. It was like the same thing,
Yeah.
just 10 years later.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Number 85.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess that's
Def
more
Jam.
10
I
seconds.
don't
Borderlands 2.
Oh, that game is fucking spectacular.
Well, please talk about it. I have no clue what it is.
You have no idea.
God, we
It's
played
first-person
it
shooter
for-
Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Shooting
fucking loot pinata.
It's
No, it's
fuck.
good.
Oh, yeah,
Like
no,
if you
that's
like
accurate.
games
Is it
where
like
you
the
get
fuck?
It is.
loot graded off of color, and then you get cool guns, and they shoot cooler shit. Yeah, it's great.
And they're all like generated on the fly. So sometimes you'll pick up a revolver that shoots rockets. And it has like a 20 clip.
The random gun generator in it is fucking brilliant.
The writing in the game makes that entire series.
So
Yeah.
is it fun? Is it
Yes.
serious?
Yes.
Very
It's
fun.
silly, right? It's not
Yes.
Call of Duty.
It's
No,
silly.
it's very
Pretentious and
silly.
full of itself.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very silly. I mean,
It's silly, but some people will get angry with certain parts of the game. Like when the hawk dies and Heather got really pissed off.
oh
she
yeah,
was really upset.
she was very upset by that. But yeah, I mean, the first one was good too. The second one took, and it was like you were saying earlier. They took everything the first game did right, and they just improved on it. Made some new classes, and I mean, it was just kind of like Diablo 1 to Diablo 2 in that sense. You know, it was just, they did the first person right. Like the first time I heard about the game, I was actually working at Play It on campus, and I had not heard anything about it. I was like, this game's coming out. And I started reading about it. I was like, oh, it's first-person Diablo, pretty much. And I was like, it might be cool. I like any game that, does that. And yeah, I played it a decent amount. It's way more fun multiplayer, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's one of those games that you have to play in a group,
Yeah.
and if
I mean,
you're in the
honestly-
same room, it makes it even better.
Yeah, because you can yell at each other. But really, any game that has an enemy that runs at you and screams, "I have the shiniest meat bicycle," is that's tops. You can't beat that.
And you want to collect that guy's face, his mask.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
And the art style in this is amazing because it's like,
it's like
one of the few games nowadays that actually still uses cell shading.
Yep.
And it's gorgeous.
It's pretty.
It's beautiful.
Yep, the cell shading is great. There's a lot of humor in it, and you get those awesome moments. I mean, it's difficult in some parts, and in other parts, it's just fun when you get like that first big upgrade to your weapon that, you get something awesome that drops early on, and you can just murder shit in one hit, and you're like, yes, my gun shoots explosive lightning. This is the best thing ever. So,
And you can upset the people you're playing with by making certain enemies stronger, by making them just pissed off and like shooting their heads off.
That was
And so
actually a
you
really
get
cool mechanic
a
of
huge
it.
string of like names added to.
Yeah, because they would like kind of level up. They were like the badass enemies or something, and they were like the badass Goliaths, and you would shoot their heads off. When their heads would blow off, they would go insane and start killing other enemies. They would attack whatever was closest. They'd just go batshit and kill everything, and they would actually get experience and level up.
Berserker.
So like one of the things you could do was like find them in a group, shoot them in the head, and then make them kill everything around them, all of the enemies, and clear the room.
Because they
But then,
kill the other enemies, and
Yeah.
you can make them into like super badass Goliath.
they would have a huge
Like
string of
12
names in
names.
front of them.
But
yeah,
then you
as
get
they
better
level up.
loot from it.
I couldn't that guy the
it's
first
really
time I saw
cool.
him.
Incredible.
Yeah,
It was really fun.
it's a really cool game.
How would you rank it among modern generation? Is that one of your favorites then? Like,
of the
top five
of modern generation? It's up there. Yeah,
We played enough, so we were
played a
playing
lot
it
of
for
it.
about 2 months, every night, all night.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, it's really good. I think one of the things that I will say that's really, and I recommended a lot when I was working at the store when people were looking for stuff on the Xbox that they could play split screen. They were one of the few people to actually put that out split screen.
Good for them.
Good for them. Yeah, seriously.
For everybody keeping score, we got 2 votes for the PC version, 2 votes for the 360, 1 vote for the PS3. And Madden Football and Borderlands are the first 2 games on our list with 5 votes. So we're now getting into the. But mind you, 5 votes out of 83 is still barely over 5% of the total votes. So, this is a very diverse list. And none of these games are like uber popular with everybody. It's nice.
Yeah.
All these games have their fans.
Yep.
Is it fair to say too that like you touched on the humor a little bit, like with Claptrap, that this is like one of the first like really just really fun characters, kind of like since GLaDOS, like in that same kind of thing, that it's like that part of it defines a lot of the game as much as the gameplay mechanics. It
defines early game for sure. Like he's kind of like your guide through that. But there are other Claptraps, and they're funny. Like when they're around, you'll hear their voices. Very much Gurr from Invader Zim is what they.
Well, that's the first Borderlands. The second one, there's only one.
Oh, is there? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. The second one.
Yeah, but every character in there has that same kind of endearing fashion. There's no character that I've run across in that game where I'm like, oh, this guy. Like, they're all just brilliantly written.
They're cool, yeah.
Tiny Tina cracks my shit up every single time.
Yeah, because you eventually get to a city, and like the characters are great. They're well fleshed out.
They're all very different, and the characters are really funny. And we ended up we each got our favorite characters that we like doing missions for.
Mm-hmm.
And we had certain missions. You have to decide like which side to take in this feud between these two.
Oh
groups
yeah,
of
that
enemies.
one.
The clan.
The two clans that are basically like backwards hicks in the desert, and you have to like decide which ones to kill, and you end up killing like all of them. But
yeah, I think in the end you kill both of them.
Yeah, during the feud you just kill everybody, but one side does live, and it's the side that you pick. This is one of the only games that I've ever heard the term boner fart used in the game for an enemy. You are killing wild boner farts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and he was the general of France, right?
Yes.
Napoleon.
Yes.
But there's like different ranks of enemies, so like sometimes you'll come across smaller ones, and they were called boner toots.
That's right, because the guy was trying to classify them, and he kept coming up with new names. He was like, "Oh fuck it, they're boner farts."
I don't care anymore. Call them boner farts, whatever.
Yeah, and their names like changed to boner fart. Yeah,
but even with the humor, you get to really intense parts of the game where we were in a thing where we had to go through these trials, and we were holding off waves of enemies.
Oh god, we were doing the arenas.
Yeah, the arenas. So you get the humor that's going on in it, but it also gets really intense, and you're like screaming at each other to do things correctly and just freaking out.
Yeah, it's funny. Good teamwork in it too, because
you
and
have
I think they're
you have to
still
team up.
releasing DLC. They just
released the
they
new
just released
character.
one, and I heard it's really good.
It's
so.
Tiny Tina essentially running a D&D campaign. And you're in the D&D campaign.
Wait, is Tiny Tina the demolitionist girl?
Yeah.
She's like the
she's
9-year-old
so
that wants you to go kill some people for her.
Yeah, she's like a 9-year-old. What's that?
They were talking about this at work. They were like, "Have you played this yet?"
Yeah. Like this 9-year-old girl is like
she wants revenge, so you have to go get her doll or something like that. She says it's a doll. It's her friend, and it's actually a big bomb that you had to collect for her. And then she basically wants to just freaking murder these people.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I think it deserves to be on the list. Especially just for modern, especially just as a modern game that was a first-person shooter that wasn't just a Call of Duty clone.
So we put some modern games on here. We're not total haters.
Yeah,
just mostly haters.
No.
Now this one's decidedly not modern. Number 84.
I haven't heard that
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Turtles. Wait, I'm not sure what it is yet.
Teenage Mutant Turtles.
Okay, arcade, right?
This is directly.
Oh yeah,
that was directly from the arcade. That was
yes.
That blew my shit mind.
Yeah, this game is
when I first saw that.
The art on the side was weird because April O'Neil was real, but she wasn't the same lady that played April in the movie, and she kind of maybe yellow jumpsuit.
She made me feel weird.
You heard that music out of an arcade machine in 90 whatever, or 89 or 90, whenever that came out, and it was like, that's directly from the fucking show.
It's 4 players. The graphics were absolutely gorgeous at the time. Dude, you pick your favorite turtle, your friend gets next to you and plays their favorite turtle,
and then you get stuck with
both have
Raphael.
the same favorite turtle.
Shut up, Raphael's the shit.
This is when, like with anything, turtles...
And then you punch each other to decide who plays which turtle.
Yep.
like with anything Turtles in the Day, I was just drawn to it. You go into an arcade, and every arcade had this too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, quarters.
Game, yeah.
And all those
So
beat 'em ups
colorful.
Konami did, they were all so much fun.
They do the Simpsons too.
They did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
God,
they
the
did.
Simpsons one was
And
great
the X-Men
too.
and
And X-Men and Cowboys
Avengers.
of Moo Mesa and
Cowboys of Moo Mesa. I forgot about
Sunset
that.
Rider. No, that's
what
Sunset Rider,
number
not
did
quite.
that get on our list? Is it in front of or behind
I think
Biker
it's
Mice
about
from Mars?
number 800.
So what's
I just
amazing
love
about the
that-
Cowboys of Moo Mesa is it's a Sunset Riders clone, and it is a great
Sunset
Sunset Riders
Riders,
clone.
awesome.
I mean, it's wonderful.
But
I like the color coded. This was because they didn't have this in the Turtles the cartoon. The color coded foot soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And also were they robots in the cartoon? They're people in the movie. But
they were robots in the cartoon.
okay.
so
But anyway,
it was okay.
I like the color coding, so you knew which kind you were getting.
And
they
Mousers, they had Mousers in it. Like they
Mhm,
actually went. If you watch the series, you're like, oh wow, I know these. I have action figures of these because we were whores for anything that had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it played
Megan got to play
fast.
this for the first time at Gaming Grid as well.
A lot of the fighting games, the beat 'em ups back then, like Double Dragon, were kind of slow on the slow side. Turtles was fast.
And with 4 players too.
And
at a
4
time.
players, and then like the environments we can like knock off the parking meter and hit into other people.
Yeah.
And
And
just so
the
many
fire
little details,
hydrants.
and you fall into the manhole. It says, "Duh, who turned out the lights?"
Yep.
Yep.
And it's one of those that you can actually see beaten because there's enough. If 4 players, like if 2 people leave, it's all right. Another person comes in and
Yeah.
continues.
It's all. If you're at a free arcade, just play through it. It's fun with more than one person. It's a must. It's so much. And it shamed Nintendo into bringing arcade games back to the NES because Turtles for the NES was fucking awful. And then they finally
everyone had
had
it,
to bring the arcade game out because it was so good. And the first Turtles Adventure game was such a pile of turtle poop.
It didn't stop me from
the
playing
dam
it
level,
hours
you
and
didn't
hours and hours.
You didn't like the dam level?
No, well, no, I could do the dam level. I didn't like the 3rd level with the party wagon and all that maze shit.
I couldn't get past the dam level. That was the end for me every time I played that game.
Dun, 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 dun. The music was neat.
It was, but it had nothing to do with Turtles.
Good conversion though.
No, well,
They need to get some real turtle tunes in here.
No, they
That's
did.
what I'm saying.
The NES version of Turtle, the arcade game was pretty good, and they were missing something by not doing that the first time.
And then that led to Turtles 3, which is like the unique one on NES, which is also pretty good.
Mhm.
Is that the
Manhattan Project?
Yeah.
And Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist, and they're all good.
Oh, Turtles in Time.
Turtles
Any,
in Time.
Turtles on the GameCube fucking sucks though. Turtles 2.
In fact, there
HD
was a vote for Turtles in Time, but we did not include it in this. We voted to not combine the two. So we're very weird with what we combined and what we didn't, but it was democratic. So.
And I gotta say, the HD version of Turtles in Time on the Xbox Live Arcade, not fun.
Also bad.
Yeah, it's
Really?
not. It's not good. They
3D-ish.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
3D-ish. It looks awkward, but they also changed like the size of the sprites and the gameplay changed, and it
Plays
didn't
like
feel
crap.
right. It's,
yeah, it's not.
Insert
it's not
Nancy
authentic.
Kerrigan. Why here? Or when she got slacked in the knee, and she'd say, "Why me?"
Once
She did?
there
Finn?
was this.
Yeah.
Wait, do you remember Headline News by Weird Al?
Weird Al, yeah.
Yeah.
The Crash Test Dummies song.
Yeah. All right. I'm yeah.
Should we wait for Cory to come back? No. All right.
What's the next one? Is it Cory related?
Kind of, but he can.
Oh, yeah.
What are you gonna say, man?
Huh?
That's insulting. No, I was kidding. I can say he can suck a dick, but
Whatever. He can figure it out. Here we go. 83.
Oh, Portal.
oh, okay. Portal 2.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that song better than the first one.
This is
Not
Portal.
really.
This is Portal
Yeah.
2. We did not combine the two portals.
So
Good
is
job.
that one separate
This is
and on the list somewhere?
360 got 4 votes.
Might be.
PS3 got 1 vote. I've know about it, but I've never played it,
How
so
did the
everybody else talk about
PS3
it.
version only get 1 vote. Like the PS3 version not only was superior, but you also got it for Steam, the PC. Like,
Yeah.
Because
more
people
people
like
own
360 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. People just
More,
don't
there are more
own
360s out there. In Merca.
Yeah.
Merca!
X-Bones, if you
X
will.
Bones.
Xbox 360 football cod blobs.
Football and hate.
The red ring is a
Play
lie.
Cod Blobs.
What?
I would play Cod Blobs. That'd be amazing.
It's cod blobs.
One of my favorite things about Portal is that
Oh, never mind. I was excited for a minute there because I thought it had something to do with fish.
No.
It doesn't.
So is 2 better than 1?
No.
no,
Is
I
it
think
the same
most
game
people
pretty
say
much?
No.
it has the paint. They actually thought about making it without portals when they started thinking about making a sequel. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just going to make it a paint game. Like they actually bought just like with the original Portal, they bought people out that were making or had made a game.
Too many
with the
cooks.
paint. Yeah. What do you mean?
Too many cooks in the kitchen if they're over-designing and overthinking it.
It wasn't... I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was really good. It just wasn't...
As perfect.
Yeah, like, play the first game. The first game is almost perfect.
Yeah.
In
well,
every
not to
way.
spoil anything, that might be on the list later, so... Just saying.
But the second one...
so the voters got it right by putting 2 behind 1. So
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and give it away. It's coming up later.
It's a little bit, and I know that this is a weird thing for me to say, it's a little bit too long, though.
That's a common
2
complaint
or
that I've
1?
heard, though.
2.
The Deuce.
Yeah. The second one, I remember multiple instances where I was like, oh, okay, well, this should almost be over, and it wasn't.
A lot of times in 2, though, you're like, oh, well, there's where I throw the portal. So
Mhm.
that's how I beat this level, because I can tell this wall is where you throw the portal.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere and the story, it continues the great story of the
it's a
series,
great
and it's
story.
connected to Half-Life, so hopefully eventually there'll be a little bit of combining there. I don't know.
There were bits of Portal 2 that I really liked, like going through the different years of
Yes,
aperture
that
and stuff
was
like that. That was really
mind-blowing,
cool.
yeah.
The co-op was really cool, but yeah, I think if you look at the game as a whole, Portal 1 was just a more solid entry than Portal 2.
Yeah.
Not that Portal 2 was bad by any stretch of the
No,
imagination.
it's good.
But Portal 1 at the time was just so groundbreaking and mind-blowing, and they didn't have that same amount of mind-blowingness.
They didn't have the surprise factor either.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You,
Well, it's
you knew
hard
what
to
you were
follow
getting
up
into.
a game that
Everybody
is so
thinks.
widely
But
loved.
it's still a solid game, and the story is great. The voice acting is spectacular.
J.K. Simmons and
yeah. It's so good. There are some really awesome moments in it, especially early on. I just felt like it kind of petered out in the second half, but the first half of it I thought was really solid.
And the ending is
fucking
perfect.
spectacular.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And the music is better than the first game too.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep, yeah. No, it's good. It's really good. You should play it, Chris.
I'll get to it eventually.
No,
Anything,
you won't,
Tatton?
liar.
No, they pretty much covered everything I would have added. Although I do have to say that the PS3, the Steam inclusion, was what actually made me pick which version I got on that.
Likewise. Yeah. I like that as a experiment from a not only marketing standpoint, but also from a game development standpoint. I'd like to see some numbers from that. Like, did it sell more? Did you see a lot of people do the conversion? How many people signed up for Steam due to that?
And it came out, unfortunately, right at the time when PSN crashed. Though it was down for about a month.
Yeah,
right.
that was-
the week
Was that
the
when
game
the
came out.
hacking thing happened?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which actually, timing-wise, was great because you could just throw your Steam code in and play the PC version if you had a PC.
So they kind of made a good gamble there.
Although, didn't you have to do something on PlayStation Network to link the two? I remember it being a bit awkward in the beginning. You had to authenticate your PS3.
Give me a credit card number.
No, you didn't. I don't think you had to give a credit card number, but I do think that you had to link your PSN account to your Steam account.
So maybe if you didn't do that ahead of time, then
Yeah.
you would have been stuck. But it was still good timing because I remember I wanted to play during that and I couldn't. I was like, I'll just throw the PC
I mean, you
version
just did. You got a Steam code, right?
Yeah.
Included, so you don't necessarily have to link your account in order for that Steam code to work. It just worked, and then it linked your Steam profile to your PSN. So that was
Gotcha.
the thing that you would miss out on, but you'd still be able to play on PC.
For me, the fact that it's a modern game that I finished, that means it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a
All
good
too
threshold.
long.
All right, number 82. S1500's not going to like this.
Something from Square.
Fantasy 8?
Becky again wins.
Ugh.
I'm surprised 8 is on the list.
Our first of many Final Fantasy entries, although not overwhelming lots of Final Fantasy entries.
Okay, so
But the first to make our list gets 5 votes. No hosts or guests voted for it.
Wow, really?
okay, so if you look up on our mantle, there's an autographed Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack because the soundtrack didn't suck, and then there is a Quistis because Quistis is the hottest and most wonderful character in the entire series of Final Fantasy. She is
all of it, like all of it.
She is incredible. Okay, so
I think she's
What about
cool,
that
but I
chick
don't
with
know
bunny
if she's,
ears in
like,
Final
the
Fantasy
Have you
12?
seen-
She's pretty hot.
No, it's okay. So Quistis, like, all right, your characters are running through like
White
this
mage.
city, right? And they're running through the city, right? And they're like running and like trying to get away from this giant like spider monster this coming after them, right? And everybody's like dashing, and they're gonna die. And then you see this ship pull up, And Quistis is on top of the ship with a Gatling gun, and she shoots the fucking spider monster. The monster goes down, and it's just like this. Oh yeah, it's just so cool.
And then you have to play the game.
And then you have to play the game. So here's the thing: I liked the characterizations. I absolutely hate Squall. I don't like Renoa.
Oh, you mean angsty
You mean
Gunblade?
his name is Cloud Dot.
Whatever.
That's his name because that's his
no,
response to
Cloud
everything.
had more substance than so Cloud would be like a piece of clay. Squall was a turd.
Yeah,
I mean, really, he was unpleasant in the whole thing. A lot of the stuff was contrived in it, like, oh, cool, they were all in the same orphanage together and they didn't remember. Really?
Spoilers.
Bullshit. Whatever, because
I actually haven't played all the way through it. I've had people tell me
hours.
it's so great, and every time I try to play it, I'm like, this game
must have
sucks.
like for all the Final Fantasy games the longest average like battle times because
the fucking draw system.
Magic, like it's lame.
Why would you? Okay,
and every time
maybe
you
I
do
didn't
your
play
summons,
it long
you have
enough.
to watch
But why
the
would you
animation.
ever do anything other than summon all the time?
Okay,
because it
that's
takes for
only
fucking ever
at
to
the
see the
beginning
animation.
of
of
But you
that.
kill everything by summoning all the time.
No. Later
and then
in
you
the
mash
game,
square.
The bosses destroy your summons.
But you have to
Oh, really?
draw the magic to junction it to your. You have to. Okay, you have to fight the battles to get the GFs to level up, to get the junctioning abilities, to draw the magic, to junction the magic to your stats, so you can boost your stats.
Where does the guy jump into the bathtub before the mousetrap comes down?
It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like
I just fell asleep.
Yeah, no, really, it's
Also,
it's
it
just
wasn't
like
Final Fantasy VII.
It's not. It's not.
You know,
What
it
did
came out after, right
you think
after.
about? This is the first attempt that they try to make realistic graphics on the PlayStation.
I didn't have a problem with it.
I thought it looked good. I thought the polygons are fucking awful.
It looks better than Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
I think 7. Well, 7's going to be way down the list. Everybody knows that, so we should just quit pretending.
I think the character models in this were what people expected out of 7.
Yeah,
I mean, they're still
I put 8 in not too long ago, and I was like,
I just wish everything would have been consistent in 7 rather than.
The rendering was nice on it. It definitely looked more like regular people as opposed to white mage in her cute little skirt. I mean, it's not the same.
Here's some things I also like the using the trigger to get extra damage when you're using the gunblade.
That was really
cool,
yeah.
I bought a freaking DualShock controller for $40 just to do that ability. I also bought a goddamn Pocket Station because it had that compatibility.
I had triple triad cards. I used to play triple triad online, which was like an online. No, it wasn't Triple Triad Online, it was Questria. So this is a shout out to my Questria friends. If you remember it, you're awesome. But it was an online Triple Triad game. I have Triple Triad cards that I kept.
Apologies to S1500.
It's so very basic, but it was kind of a fun thing. And the thing is that you didn't have to do it if you wanted to, and you didn't want to use those effing cards. You could get those cards like from different things, and you could refine them into items that kick ass. Like, cool, you don't want to play the fucking minigame? Good, you don't have to. Not like fucking Blitzball.
I think what I'll say is it's the sum is less than the product is less than the sum of its parts.
So I enjoyed the characterizations. I may have, I might have some Quistises and some figurines lying around from that game, and I'm okay with the fact that it exists.
I love that sorceress music. That's why I picked it too. By the way, that was like when I got to fight a sorceress at the end of whatever discs, and I didn't have a soundtrack, and I didn't have YouTube.
The end of disc 2.
And I love the fact that the first airship is the school, which is a giant garden. Like, it's a giant. You're in the garden, and then you end up finding out that your ship is like this huge fucking city in a ship. That's how you get.
Yeah, I didn't get that far.
It was neato.
I think the biggest problem with Final Fantasy VIII was the fact that it carried the Final Fantasy name. I think if it was its own unique game and it wasn't carrying, people's expectations for Final Fantasy, it probably would have been much better received.
The anticipation for that was off the charts.
It was made by had to be made by a different team because it came out so soon. Like
No,
1.5.
There was a good almost 2 years. 2 year
the
wait for
art
that.
style was different. I think they pulled different people for the character drawings for that, because I don't know that they used the Yoshitaka Amano stuff that he had been used.
But he wasn't
previously.
for 7 either.
Well, they had. I guess they
brought
were
it back for
going for
9.
more. They were going for more of the realism, and they were, in that attempt to go for more of the realism. They
This is before the clothes got too ridiculous, like in 10.
yeah,
with the half
The hat,
checker pants, whatever.
I like
He's
that
got-
leather belt dress that Lulu wears.
The music,
kind of cool.
Yeah.
the music is amazing. You know, if you're looking to play a Final Fantasy, this doesn't need to be a pickup. But if you have the opportunity to listen to the music, and then read a bunch of fan fiction.
Actually, this one I would like to play a remake.
You know what?
Of it
I would
'cause
strike the
I can't
last
go back
thing
and
that
play
Becky
this.
said.
No.
Never read fan fiction ever.
Write a bunch of fan fiction.
If they made a remake of this with no load times and
if they
I
change
don't
the
know.
draw system to like you can get 20 at a time,
and they remove the lead character.
Just change everything about it.
The
Yeah.
main character was basically removed, from what I could tell. You were just like a soulless
whatever.
So
Funny thing is, the main character
Yeah.
is based on a Japanese pop artist.
Well, and actually,
so fucking quit that.
The thing with the lead character, this is a really common thing. They do this in anime all the time, where especially the harem style anime, where there's like one guy and there's lots of potential like girlfriend characters. They specifically make the lead character generic
Everyman.
and relatable. So you just you just replace yourself with that person.
Which
and
girl
interact
do you
with
wanna
other
fuck?
characters.
That's why all the
Yeah,
mute
but I
characters in
wasn't-
games too, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I think they were trying to do that.
They're
with
trying to make him
Pong,
American.
and they tried to do it with Cloud, and it didn't work right because you need someone who can interact more. Like you can't be
Wait,
mute. And they were
and you
trying to
didn't
like
have-
just
he
barely
was
fill
kind
that
of a
gap.
dick.
He
Like,
wasn't
he was
dick.
an ass.
Well,
He was
his
a complete ass.
the word he said more than anything else is whatever.
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 What about the?
Like, he was just like, I'm aloof.
What do you guys
and-
think of the other the side story with in the past? Those three guys.
Dude, Laguna was awesome.
Okay, so Laguna's battle music, the man with the machine gun, is some of the best music in Final Fantasy history. Absolutely, hands down, just fucking amazing. Gameplay wise, Laguna's a wiener, but he's a lot more relatable than Squall is. If you look at Laguna, like he loses his shit when he's trying to talk to the girl that he likes, and he's a soldier, like he should be able to do these things. And no.
He was a better main character, and he was only in part of the game.
Exactly.
I know. Like I remember when we first got the first Laguna section, I was like, man, why can't we play as him? Like,
I didn't. Well, no, and I like
he's not a turd.
And dude used a boat anchor as a weapon, and that's fucking great. He threw a boat anchor.
And there was the dog arrow rocket thing.
Oh yeah, because you could shoot Angelo off of your stupid. Well, and
Renoa, her little
yes.
I kind of hate her.
Well, and Selfie and her we're pandering to fan guys or whatever. We need to have like a 14-year-old to. Okay, so if you guys see up there with all the Harvest Moon
Great
stuff
for podcast. Yeah.
Okay, but no, up on the wall there is. I painted for a costume I did. It says Fujin and Rage. I loved Fujin. Fujin said one word. She was amazing. Oh my god, she was fantastic. I loved Fujin because she was just like the jaw. And I painted a sign that says Fujin and Rage and.
We apologize for all the Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say,
talks.
I love how Chris is just sitting here going, "Can
Final
we just
Fantasy
stop
is
talking
one
about
of
Final
those
Fantasy VIII,
games that you
please,
have
and
to
move on?"
talk about.
I like it, but I can see why people would be annoyed by the people that love it to this degree. So I can see.
Okay,
both
so I
sides.
don't love it to this degree, but I have a bunch of the memorabilia, and I might listen to Eyes on Me all the time.
I wanted to like this game. I forced myself to play it for about 15 hours and just
I don't even like the gameplay. I like everything else.
4 hours. Yeah,
that's where I got.
I got through the first disc twice. I did it the first time, got through the first disc, and was like, I'm done with this. Tried to revisit it later. Through the first disc, I was bored.
And it's when you cannot. Well, with a lot of RPGs, you have to start over each time. You have no idea what the hell you're
Don't
doing.
buy a third-party PlayStation memory card. Don't ever do it because I played through the first disc 3 times. I played through the second disc. I got to the second disc, so I got to the second disc, my game got corrupted. I got to the third disc, my game got corrupted. I got through the first disc again, and my game got corrupted. And then I just beat it on somebody else's. I was like, fuck all this. So I will say that I've never beaten it on my own game. I had to beat it on somebody else's. And I like everything that goes with it. So I'm one of those assholes. I'm sorry.
All right. With that said,
Next.
Number 81.
Very.
Oh, Arkham City.
Very good. Batman Arkham City.
I know nothing about this except that it's Batman.
Oracle's in it.
I only played the first one, which was amazing.
Second one's better.
That's what I hear.
It's open world, but a very small, tight, like open world, like Vice City kind of. Every single building has a couple things to do on it. Voice acting's great in it. They have the original, not the original, but the animated series Batman guy that they have, Kevin Conroy, on every modern Batman thing.
What's his face is Joker?
What's his name, I think.
Mark Hamill?
Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
they have
Mark Hamill.
In the first one. Was he the Joker in Arkham City as well?
Yeah, I think
So
Arkham
that was
City was the last one.
pre-retirement?
Yeah, that was the last one he's going to do as the Joker.
Which is too bad, because he's the Joker.
I haven't played many Batman games, but you actually feel like you're in Gotham City. They made it so they don't have to have like pedestrians or anything. They made it like a blocked off area of Gotham City. Like you're on the island where Arkham, or I don't know exactly where you are, but
Escape from Arkham.
Anybody
City.
you encounter is kind of like a thug that's working for the enemy. But you can go into a lot of buildings. Kind of plays a little bit like Zelda. You go into the buildings and they're different dungeons. Basically, you have to fight through. It's constantly throwing new things at you, different puzzles. It's just
and it's still like a stealth action game too,
yes.
which is
you feel like you're Batman. You can fly and grapple anywhere, not fly, but float basically and glide, and grapple on anything.
And the hand-to-hand combat was always really good.
Yes, very visceral.
The mechanics were fantastic.
Yep.
So have you played?
It's just way too complicated to me. There was too many button pushes. Like Sean showed me this game.
This isn't an Atari controller.
Yeah, well, it was like here, push this and menu, and I'm like, okay.
For open world games, I like I said, I like them to be smaller with more things to do. When anybody says like, "Oh, Grand Theft Auto 5, it's going to be bigger than all of the Grand Theft Autos combined," I don't care. Like it's just
you
padding.
have to get in a car
and
you have to drive around.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. So
we did not combine this with Arkham Asylum, which I think got 3 votes. So this could have been higher.
I do think
it's
actually way better than Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, my experience is only with Arkham Asylum, but it was
similar.
really good.
It's similar,
yeah.
but
if Arkham Asylum didn't make the list and this did, then I'm assuming it's better. But Arkham Asylum was really fun.
Yeah,
and you're both comic book fans too, right?
Yeah.
Is that necessity for this?
No. I think you could enjoy it
I don't think
regardless.
so.
Like I don't think it's.
And it actually feels definitive too.
Yeah.
Even as a video game, like I don't know.
I don't know everything about like. I remember I was working at the game store when this was coming out, and it was getting really good reviews. Well, when the first one was coming out, it was getting really good reviews, and I remember my boss at the time was like, nobody's going to care. It's another Batman game. And I was like, well, I'm going to get it anyways. And I bought it and played it, and I was like, no, this could be Game of the Year. It's so good. Like, it's
like they
so
were actually,
solid.
is it Paul Dini that wrote it? Because they're a little bit inspired by the animated series more than anything.
Yeah,
more than the comics.
If he didn't do the first one, I think he definitely did the second one.
Okay.
I remember seeing his name involved in it, because I love Paul Dini's take on Batman, the Batman universe.
When are we going to get the Adam West Batman video game?
Well, they are making the next one. It's not Adam West, but it is a
we want.
retro,
I want to see a goofy Batman game. Damn it, we've seen the
Zoc.
the dark shit too much. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's Batman,
it's dark,
though.
but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not like tiresome like the Dark Knight, like the movie.
brooding
I
shit
don't know.
just is a little too much for me these days. I mean, I'm not a comic book guy, so
It has a little
take
bit
my
of humor.
opinion with a
I
grain of
want
salt, but-
bat shark repellent spray, and sometimes it's you just can't get rid of a bomb.
That would do well as as like a DLC
Campy
game,
Batman.
I think.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
a
that would be
$20
kind of
game
awesome.
that's like goofy 60s Batman, I can see, but not a $60 big budget.
Yeah,
like-
agreed.
It's like I said
Agreed.
before, we just
It
We could
does-
put a
it does
Lego,
appeal
you
to
could put
Gears
a
of War
level in the
players,
Lego
too, I'd say,
Batman,
like-
because that's still kind of tongue in cheek as it is.
Actually, if you want to play a good Batman game that's not like the current Dark and Brooding stuff, the Batman game on the Wii, I don't remember the animated series that went with.
Brave and
Is that
Bold.
Batman and Friends?
But Brave and the Bold.
Batman Brave and the Bold. It's
Wasn't that
a
a soap opera?
side-scrolling beat-em-up.
Young and the Bold and the Beautiful.
Bold and Beautiful.
Yeah.
Bold and the Restless and the Young and the.
The original NES Batman game, the first one,
That one's
was really
good.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And the music
And
was
Game Boy.
fantastic.
Yes.
And another one that's actually fun to play is Batman on the TurboGrafx 16. It's
played that.
almost like Bomberman.
Batman
Yeah,
Returns
it's
on SNES
wonderful.
is very good.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Batman Forever on the SNES was good too.
Batman is one of
No, it
the
wasn't.
few
I'm
comic
joking.
No, that was
It's
the
good
one that you
games
had to
that
figure
can
out where
actually
there was
do
you
good
couldn't
video
figure out where to
games,
go,
good
and buttons
movies.
were dumb, and it was like
Buttons
R
were
and
dumb,
Y.
Because he is
and-
the best comic.
Well,
Yes.
the easiest way to explain why that one was bad was the title screen
Are
had
you-
the word acclaim on it.
It's the best DC character. For
Lego Batman 2 got 2 votes. Batman for the NES got 1 vote.
Batman and Robin on SNES even.
Ninja Baseball Batman got 1 vote.
Oh, Ninja Baseball Batman!
And Arkham Asylum got looks like 3. So I guess Arkham City is the one that's going to get is the only one going to be on this list. But it was well represented. There's a lot of people, and there wasn't a fanboy who wrote every single Batman game on their card. Fortunately, unlike
Batman
Megaman.
does lend itself really well to video games and TV shows and cartoons and all those things. One of the few comic franchises that really does.
I don't know. Superman 64? How many votes did that get?
I don't think it got
Or
any.
the old Spider-Man
had
game?
a good game because Superman on the Atari is crap, and Superman on the NES is
Because
super
Superman's a boring
crap.
character. He's invincible.
There was a Superman arcade game
I
that
like
was
that
halfway
one.
decent. I'm
The
trying
beat
to
'em up.
Yeah, the side scroller.
It wasn't great, but I like
Yeah.
I like the alternative Superman who was like red and orange, like the Player 2 Superman. I just like weird
Bizarro,
shit like that.
maybe?
Oh my god, they need a Bizarro game. Bizarro is the best Superman character ever. Alright, comic books.
Comic book talk, yay!
Yeah, moving on.
Number 80. We're going to do 5 more here.
Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus? Eco? Yeah.
Your finger?
Braveheart, the game.
The fuck was that, Chris?
Xenogears.
Really? Holy shit.
Okay.
I like
Never-
Xenogears.
Never played it, so
Oh, that's
Nope,
great.
Never played it. Oh, wait,
Never
how
played
many
it.
of us have played it? Oh my god, some
Yeah.
of us have played it. Okay, I was worried that
it
we
was
were
pretty
gonna
good.
be-
I don't remember that kind of music.
I
in it.
actually started
must
playing
have
it again
been-
recently,
I don't know.
maybe 4 years ago or something like that, and that game is still fucking spectacular.
Wait,
I-
Xenogears, the series on the PlayStation 2. Yes?
no,
PlayStation
Xenogears on
one.
the PlayStation
Single
1.
Xenosaga.
You're thinking of
Okay.
Xenosaga, which is
Xenoblade as well.
horrible, but
Okay, so Xenogears, the one with Choo Choo, the guinea pig.
On the cross, right? No. Is there like a crucified...
God, I don't even
Weird
remember.
place really quick.
Are all these
Sure.
Xeno
Getting
games
dark.
related, like Xenosaga,
Somewhat.
Xenosaga? And
Somewhat.
what's the one on Xenoblade?
Spiritually, they're related.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really, Xenogears stands by itself as just that would be the first one. It was on the PlayStation 1. It does suffer from polygons.
2D/3D.
Yeah.
It's the
But it
upward
was
adolescence
it was
game.
still really fucking cool because the sprite part of the game, it was a fairly traditional, like, third-person isometric, like, wandering around in an overworld fighting monsters, and you would get into, like, Final Fantasy-style turn-based battles. But it had this really awesome, like, kind of action point combo system where you would have, like, weak, medium, and strong punches or different types of attacks.
You can see it continue in Vagrant Story, I think, that kind of fighting strength
It's,
thing.
it's
It's the same
the
people.
square.
Yeah, but it was cool. And then when you would get in your gigantic mech and go nuts and fight other mechs, it was a similar system, except for you were doing like 10,000 times the damage. The story was good from what I remember, but as far as I ever got in
Weren't the
it, I was
cutscenes like
sort of-
super long?
and you
I was
could-
like,
that's Xenosaga.
No. Well, okay. In Xenogears, if you like died on a boss, you had to watch the dialogue again, and you couldn't skip it. And it was like 10 minutes dialogue each time. So
That is the worst. Like when
Mechanic.
they added the feature of skipping that
Yeah.
was like wonderful.
Xenosaga, like, I was super excited when that came out. I put it in, started playing it. I got to move my character for about 10 minutes, and then it's literally an hour-long
Yeah.
cutscene. And then you get to move a little bit more, and then it's another hour-long cutscene.
Yeah.
Choo Choo's like a pink guinea
But
pig thing.
but Xenogears is excellent. Like it was a cool, like, it was a really cool take, I thought, on the turn-based combat system.
This was Square at its
About,
absolute peak, wasn't
Yes,
it?
absolutely.
About 20 hours in, you got to like a 3D fighting game.
Wait,
too.
Choo
Yeah,
Choo really
that was
did get
nuts.
crucified. How did this happen?
Yes,
what the
that's
hell?
in the game. You see that in like a church. It's like a painting of that happening. It doesn't really even make any freaking sense, but
Okay, so
A
so
Japanese
the only
RPG not making sense?
yeah.
What?
I
So-
only know Choo Choo from Questria. That somebody had an Xenogears card pack, and I was all like,
Yeah.
"There's a guinea pig. I have to have a guinea
Listen
pig
to some
card."
more
This
Joanne
game made me
Hogg.
pretty angry though, and I don't know if anybody else had this experience, but Like when you're in your
I love
mech,
the Indigo Girls.
you could only get health from like these machines that would fix your mech, and you were able to destroy that machine, and it also upgraded you. So I broke the game, and I couldn't play any further because I destroyed that machine accidentally, and I saved it some. So that's my personal hatred of the game. Stems from that.
No, I think that this was. I think I had a vote for this. Actually, I don't
have your card handy, but there was a host vote for it.
Yep. Yeah. No, I loved this game. Like this was
guest vote, no host vote.
Yeah. My PlayStation 1 was when that I had a Super Nintendo, but that was when I actually had money to buy my own games, and Xenogears was one of the ones that I bought, and that was like the heyday of RPGs.
So it ranked higher than Final Fantasy VIII. Aren't you happy?
Yes. It didn't rank higher than Final Fantasy VII, so suck a dick.
Well, not much is going to do that, unfortunately, for a lot of haters out there, which I can understand. Did you play that too, Chris?
Yeah, a little bit. It was pretty good. It was all right.
Good enough.
Any game that has a Sarah McLachlan soundtrack is.
Were there like kitties with deformed eyeballs crying at you?
I don't think.
Can you see the rescue pets?
Suda 51 wasn't making games yet, so I don't.
You
think
know those
so.
commercials on TV, like with like the like the adopt a pet
In
today
the
or give it to the
arms of
SPCA.
the angel. Sad one
They're like
where they're
extremely sad, and these horribly pathetic animals that have been beaten.
Like, hey, do you hate
whatnot,
yourself?
like
Well, now you
crying
do.
at you, wanting your money. It's like really over the
You're
top.
not giving all of your money to animals. You're a bad person, apparently.
Damn it.
All right, this one should be good. 79. It sounds like drugs.
Sounds like a weird porn.
Resident Evil?
No, Resident Evil's probably higher.
Silent Hill?
Eternal Darkness. It should be on the list.
I hope it is.
Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. There's so few actual soundtracks, and I'm actually surprised that's as low as it is. Fuck, that game rules.
5 votes, 1 guest vote.
Me.
But there's a lot of modern stuff around here, but let's let the Cory guy play all these.
Chris played this quite a bit with us on. Matt had a server.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually won this game in the White Elephant gift contest or White Elephant gift thing at Nick's holiday party.
Yeah,
and there are very few games in the past 10 years that I have put more hours into than Minecraft. It is so.
Did you like the building part of it more, or the holy shit I'm scared moments?
I
like
love exploring in that game.
Really?
I love it. There was a day I built a boat and rode the boat for 3 hours north until I found
Did you have to
a
steer
time
it the
road.
whole time, or could you leave the room? Or?
No, you couldn't leave the room. Yeah, you had to move it, and there were some terrifying moments in that game. That game has such good atmosphere.
So I don't understand though. Are you playing on a level that someone's built already? Or
No, it's all procedurally generated.
Okay.
So you can have save a world as
scary, though? Sorry.
Oh,
You have to
well,
tell me all about
I
it.
can
I've
get
never
into
played
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's monsters and things like
Well,
that.
there are monsters, but part of it is also it's got a day-night cycle, which you can't tell what the fuck is going on when it's late. When
What a
you're
horrible night to
underground.
have a curse.
Yeah, because you could just be like, okay, I'm going to dig down. And you can dig down, and then you'll hit a gigantic open cavern that's down there with lava waterfalls and lava falls, I guess. And there'll be monsters, and you have to figure out really interesting ways to place the blocks to get across this chasm so you can get to the other side where you see materials you need, or that's really fun. And then you can be like, okay, now I'm going to build a castle, and you can just me and my friend Bob built a giant castle, and he was really into. It's really cool because we're all playing on the same server, and I was into exploring, and Bob was into building and making machinery out of
Bob the Builder?
redstone. Bob the Builder, yep. But he would make hey, check this out, and you'd hit a button, and he had this whole contraption going so that it would siphon. It would flush water down and grab all of the grain that he had been growing on this thing. There's all these crazy things you can do with it.
I've heard that like anything that happens is like automatically saved. Like you can't.
Yeah, you can't take it back. Yeah,
so
it's
you can die pretty quickly, or
it's a living world
destroy
though.
your castle
Like
pretty
it's
quickly.
cool because like Matt has a server up now. We could go on the server. We could all play and affect changes on the world. Like I'm going to build a tower to space. Okay. And when I log on, I can see you and your tower built to space. And when we log off...
Can you go into space and, like, dive from
You
lack of oxygen?
can go to space
There's
now.
a new mod now that you can... Somebody has made different... They've made all the planets...
I don't think you can
planets.
go to all of them. You can go to some of them. Like you
Yeah,
can go to the moon.
Well, I don't think
Oh,
they've
those
made all of them
bastards.
yet. But you can. But the guys were like, I was watching this video. It's just hilarious. These guys were like made these little rocket ships, and you can get in the rocket ships and like shoot up into space, and then they'd go to the moon. There's different gravity there, and there's monsters
Different
and
minerals.
stuff.
Wasn't there, like,
I've really
a
enjoyed seeing
moon
things that
cheese
people
and-
built, just like pictures and videos. Of
Oh
things
yeah,
people built.
like
It's
if you
pretty
want to
fun.
be amazed by it, well, look at the one that the guys did where they were rebuilding Middle Earth on there.
I saw like Westeros too. Was
Yeah.
Can you go deep into hell too, or just,
there's the
bottom?
Nether.
Yeah.
Like so, when you get enough obsidian, you can build a portal to the Nether, which is basically hell. It's got all this like. And there's like, it's just weird sometimes because it's all procedurally generated, but then there's like certain things that are built into it. So you'll have like in the Nether, there are like Nether fortresses that you'll come across that have like a bunch of enemies in them. And I don't know, there's just so much to that game. And
It's
and
the ultimate
Well,
open-ended
you've
game.
sold me on it. Can I play it?
Yeah. No,
okay.
it's, I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
you can play it on anything.
It's
very much like when you were a kid and you played with Legos and you had your little guy and he went on adventures and then you built more stuff so he could go on more adventures. That with multiplayer.
And it could be, if you're playing in survival, it's like, yes, you respawn, but it can be unforgiving. Like, some of the resources are really difficult to get, and if you die, all your shit falls on the ground and it rots in, a couple of hours or something like that. So if you're, like, super happy that you made this diamond sword, and then you die, you fall into lava, it all burns up, and you're just like, fuck. You have to
run away from the creepers.
Also, there's
which
the kitty
just
fountain.
explode.
The kitty fountain was awesome.
But it's cool. There's some atmospherically, like, just really cool things. Like when I was on that boat ride, we were just out there in the ocean, and there was no land anywhere, and we saw a light at the bottom of the ocean. And I went swimming down, and there was lava down there, and like a cave we found our way into.
Sounds like has anybody read House of Leaves?
Yes,
yeah, sounds like that.
Yeah,
Like,
oh, it's awesome.
fucking scary.
Yeah, I highly recommend. I think anybody could have fun with it. I always want to go back and play it.
If I get an Ouya, I think that'd be the reason why, just to have that game cheap and
Actually, you
on
can
TV.
get.
I didn't get on the consoles, but I want to give them money for it.
Well,
you don't want to get the Xbox one either, because in my opinion, it is inferior.
It is on a disc though. So
You can get a Raspberry Pi. There's
Is it?
actually a
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi version.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, the console one suffers from the same thing that like the iPad one suffers from, is that the world does end. Like you hit a wall. If you play the PC or the Mac version, or probably plays in Linux fine too, it is an endless procedurally generated world until you get to. There is a point you can get to where the game starts to fuck up because it's gotten too big, and you'll just reach these.
Yeah, you see, like the early on, I remember somebody like had all these bombs explode at one time, and it got stuck trying to render everything at one time.
It's surprising. It's surprisingly hard on a system too, for how like simple the graphics are too. But it's great. I highly recommend it. So should start a server. Now you're playing with podcast server.
All right, number 78.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Which one?
That would be the first one.
Pinball Chris gets a point.
So
A million
I'm curious: is this all of the Smash Brothers?
It is not. Just
So-
the N64 version got
Just
5
N64,
votes.
okay.
We
So you're separating them.
we voted to separate them.
Okay.
And I'm a little bitter about this because we separated these, and then a bunch of the other, like I got outvoted on.
I would say a
grouping
bunch.
together a bunch of the other fighting games, and then towards the end it was like all the fighting games are the same, and I was the only one championing that they're all different.
Wait,
based
didn't we
on-
say though that 2 and 3 are the same of Smash Brothers, but 1 is different? I don't know
I
if we
proposed
actually
that, but
combined-
we did not vote that.
We did not vote that way. Okay.
Because I think it was the N64 and
There are
GameCube
vast differences between all
I mean, they
three of
look
these, I
different.
think.
Any N64 game is just in its own.
So who
Ugly World.
remembers the
Ugly
commercial?
Oh yeah,
like,
the
they're just
so happy
coming in
together
with the
thing.
birds.
Yoshi kicking Luigi in the ass, and
Oh,
Were they
yeah.
like
I forgot
puppets
about
or
that.
costumes?
No
They were
costumes.
and like
Oh, I want those
yeah, and
costumes.
like Pikachu's like fly kicking, like Donkey Kong in the head face.
This is a furry
I feel like
convention.
I
They
missed
hire these
out
people.
on a lot of awesome commercials.
Totally something
just
different. Does
because of my
anybody
age.
remember the Yoshi's Island commercial that
that
was
was so
like
great.
Monty Python and the Meaning of Life, with the guy eating all the food and exploding? It was disgusting. But it was a Yoshi's Island commercial. Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to look
I
that
never
up.
saw it, but I saw like somebody talked about it,
And they kept
when
censoring
Nintendo
it.
was
They
trying to be like aggressive and have
Yeah,
it
like
and
Sega.
gross.
They're trying to be like Sega.
Yoshi's gonna mess you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the one on the Nintendo 64 I played a decent amount of because a couple of my friends had it and they were really good at it, but I was horrible at the Nintendo 64 one. They beat me with their feet. Like they played with their feet on the Nintendo 64 controller and beat me.
I hated this version of it
Yeah,
because of the
not a
analog
fan.
stick, but now that we've got those N64 mods with the GameCube stick on there, like I actually want to go back and revisit it.
It's playable. It
But
was so
I think
neat.
honestly for me, I just think the next one was so much better. I can only think I can go back to this one.
It was, but this is
it's a great idea.
The second one was the super fan service starting. Starting.
Yeah. Well, this was still like honestly, like this was great, and then the one on the GameCube was wonderful, and the reason I got my Wii was for Smash Brothers.
I bought my GameCube for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, there's so much fun, and it's a great multiplayer series, and it's like, all right, so you're gonna play with your Pikachu. Well, I fucking hate Pokemon, so I'm gonna use Luigi, and I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. Like, you can go ahead and have your vendettas. Like, I can't stand Donkey Kong; he's an asshole, so I'm gonna kick his ass. Like, it's neat, and then the actual history of the hand, Ultra Hand, has a Nintendo history because it was an early Nintendo toy. So the fact that they're
the
pulling
Game and Watch
history,
guy they had. Well, that's in the
Game
next
and
one.
Watch.
but
Yeah,
I mean,
Mr.
like the
Game and Watch,
history
yes.
of the Ultra Hand, because the Ultra Hand was actually they had a grabby hand toy. So
That's a WarioWare as well.
I enjoy that sort of history,
And it's
kinda
kind of a
shocked-
unique fighting game too.
I'm shocked that 5 people voted for this one, to be honest. But
A lot of people, some people are really hardcore. People are very hardcore about Smash Brothers, and some people
and
love
64 now.
this one, and
Yeah.
some people love Melee. If people like Brawl better, I don't.
I mean,
know who they
if
are,
you
but-
were if you were like 6 years old and you had an N64 and you had 4 controllers for it and you could sit down with your friends and kick their asses like 4 people at once on the same
Right.
system, like that's wonderful.
that's kind of like the first one of those 4-player. Like, there was a lot of innovations in it. I think everybody in here agrees that it got better later on.
And I mean, awkward adolescence of gaming, yes, but you could still at least recognize, and
Yeah.
yes, it
It was
did
pretty
the wonderful
late
fan
too for the
service and-
N64.
But okay, good, but definitely not the best.
Yeah, but it was good, especially at the time. Like I said, I think the only game that even rings kind of seeming similar to this was Power Stone,
Which came after this.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh
so,
yeah, definitely.
So it was the start of a nearly unique fighting genre
And
that
coming from
Nintendo
Nintendo, I mean-
made. Yeah,
The last company in the world, although I guess they did do Killer Instinct, sort of.
It's rare. Yeah,
There's a big difference between Smash Brothers and a traditional fighting game like Killer Instinct. I'd almost say something like Power Stone and Smash Brothers would fall into maybe like battle arena style fighting, or maybe like dot eating or something. I don't know.
It's all about eating days.
The thing about Nintendo is they have a great innovation once a year on average, and then they just copy all those. So it seems like they have a whole lot of things, good things
Right.
they're doing, but it's just one new thing a year.
So that was like
basically.
that was the one N64 game idea that stuck.
Well, Mario 64.
Paper Mario.
Yeah.
There were lots of things on there that stuck.
But
That was like a new genre.
Paper Mario's not on this list, and Smash Brothers is in multiple iterations. So, all right, number 77.
Uh-oh.
Bad number.
Paperboy.
Yep.
And yes, I think of the Brental Floss version.
Did your brother vote for this?
I believe.
Fuck Paperboy.
Okay, is this
Get a real
arcade,
job, assholes.
NES? Were there multiple systems?
1 vote for the arcade, 4 votes for the NES.
The arcade was super fun because it had the handlebar control, and it was a little bit more interesting than the NES.
NES was a damn good port, though.
It was a pretty good port
for what it could do with on air.
Was that Tengen or Tengen?
No. Who was that?
I don't know. Anything we can't remember is
Mindscape.
LGN.
LGN.
That you're right. It was Mindscape.
So, yeah, it was probably done by somebody else, but that was
Rare. It's not by Rare. No.
might have been.
Yeah. Tatton's going to look.
So it's very okay. It's so hard to get that game to play that game right, but once you do, if you get on a good run, it's very satisfying. You're hitting all the windows.
Wait, isn't that not what you're supposed to do?
Sorry, not the window. Hitting all the.
I was really confused. I was like, I've been playing this game wrong my whole life.
I hate all my neighbors. I'm gonna fucking break their windows.
Right. Aren't you supposed to break the windows of the people that don't subscribe?
Yes,
but
you are. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
But they don't subscribe if you don't deliver their papers properly.
So you run out of papers. So you have to just get everything right. It's too complicated.
It's a great arcade game.
It's a fun game.
And it's funny because the original arcade's got kind of a driving beat to it, but the NES version, they take out the drum. And that music that I just played is pretty iconic. I mean, it's very simple and only like one note at a time.
Is there irony to the fact that the kids probably had paper routes to play the Paperboy arcade game?
Has anybody ever, except in a movie or this game, ridden their bike and thrown the papers at the yard? Like,
no, just that died in the 60s.
But why would they play Paperboy when they could play Clax?
They made their dad drive
It's
them
90s.
around.
It's the 90s, and it's time for Clax.
Gotta go deliver these papers if I fucking paper.
Remember that Mega 64 group that did that Paperboy parody where they had
They
like the
blocked people's
juggler
cars
with the
in.
fire juggler and they blocked the Paperboy at 5 a.m.
The breakdancing guy.
The breakdancing.
That was funny.
The jewel thief.
What are you buying?
What are you selling?
I'm sorry to everyone who voted for this. I'm with Cory. I don't like this game. I never could get into it.
I like the music.
It just, like, I felt like the entire time I was playing this game, I just wanted to get to the fucking ramps at the end. That's it.
But then you get to the ramps and you immediately fail.
Yeah, and I was
time.
like, okay, I want to try those again. No, I have to go through this
Play
street,
Excite Bike
and
instead.
yeah, I'll just play Excite Bike. Fuck that.
Well,
I'm on the fence on this. I think sometimes it's okay. Sometimes
It's very nostalgic for people who played it. I
played it when I was a kid, and it just made me mad.
It's rad, and now it's bad.
Yeah, I mean,
It's so bad.
I understand like why if you got good at this game, I bet it was a blast.
My
but-
brother's he can actually finish the NES version.
Shit.
Yeah.
There's a finish?
Yes. You play 1 week and then you retire.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah.
Never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah, you earn enough money for a new bike
But your bike is fine.
or a Nintendo, so you
Not
don't
if
have
you
to
take it on
Your
an
bike
obstacle
fine if you
course.
play like me, your bike is not
enough
fine.
money
It's
to buy a
wrapped
Nintendo
underneath
with
some
Paperboy.
asshole that just pulled out
Because
of his
if you get hit
driveway
by a
super
car in
fast.
your bike,
Yeah.
Well, if you like the music, Brentalfloss did a cover, but he did a cover with Konami Code. They did a really neat jazzy version of it. That's a lot of fun. And yeah, it's the music. Honestly, I suck hard at this game, but the music is good. You hexadecathloned it.
Genesis version though, which was more like the arcade and everybody hated it.
Yeah, it was me.
Then you
But the
video
music's
game
good.
related it.
Oh, that's right. You
For the
video game
Game
related
Gear.
part 2
Oh,
on the
yeah,
Game Gear.
yeah.
You beefed it.
Because
Because it was both sides of the street and it's terrible.
I beefed it 87 bajillion. Yeah, that was silly pants. I'm not gonna seriously. I am not
Why
gonna
not
be
just
delivering.
go up the street one way and down the street the
That
other way?
is exactly the thing. I am not gonna drive in the middle of the goddamn
Unless you're Chris
street.
Elliott, you cannot throw papers both ways.
Yeah, no.
Somebody got it.
I don't understand your reference, but I
Get a life.
Get a life?
Yeah,
Okay.
God, I forgot the name of the show.
Do, 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 do. And it had Stand as the theme song. It was awesome.
I
What,
just
that was
read
way
that
ahead of time.
today in Chuck Klosterman book. That was the theme song.
All right, the last game of today's episode, number 76.
It better be a good one.
Oh, Megamania X.
Again.
All right, so you should have done. Honestly, you want to screw with people? Do the password theme because it doesn't fit. It's too cute.
I didn't want to screw with people. I wanted people to recognize it, and you guys did. So
Well,
I was
and
successful.
Storm Eagle is amazing. I will say that the music on this probably would be interesting on the Genesis. I'd love
Oh,
to
yeah.
hear the SNES Mega Man X games ported to the Genesis just to hear the sound cards because the music is fucking wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm being very profane tonight, and I apologize for anyone who's.
That's all right. I'm always profane.
So this is like the
Doing pretty mild.
when a reinvention
Sorry.
of Mega Man was a good idea. You know,
Well,
everybody-
yeah, because
It was really
seriously,
cool.
I mean, how many people does it make their dick rock hard?
Yeah, seriously. If anyone has,
Is that one of the bosses? Really?
Yeah, Rock Hard Dick, the boss.
That's why they call him Rock.
But it's a series
What is
where
its weapon? Jizz bombs?
the second game was not better than the first.
It's a melee
So-
weapon, really.
Yep, beat him.
No, there's actually a reference for that.
Yeah, there's a great
There's an
great
amazing video.
by Raptor, and he's
Yeah.
talking about like game design in general, and uses Mega Man X as the how the
Oh,
first
yeah.
stage is the best like training stage ever because it's playable and it's not like force feeding you.
Mega Man, you gotta shoot this enemy!
Shut up!
Because that's what modern games do. They say, "Good job squishing that Goomba."
Yeah, well,
Squish
yeah, and
50
it's
more
like
to get an achievement.
yeah, you get an achievement for doing something, and this is like, oh, you fall down this pit, and you have to figure, holy crap, you can scale up the wall. Like you have no choice, but you have to learn, and you can.
Oh, it's E.T.
Somewhere really, I was watching the gameplay
Where's that
video
on the
for
list?
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Number 5.
And
number.
I'm already pissed off at it telling you every single thing to do. Did you watch
Yeah,
it where
ridiculous.
you're like rappelling down and it's like press up to go up and down to like that's every game now.
Like
tells
there's no
you
learning.
yeah.
There's no learning. Well, yeah, but they don't come with manuals anymore. Like once upon a time, it was
It doesn't
neat
matter.
because
You don't need to read the manual. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
like,
that's
you can
the-
figure shit out.
I think that's the
game.
thing, though. Like the games have more buttons; they're a little bit more complicated now,
But
and it's
there's
like
It's
all
still a
of
finite amount of buttons. I could figure out which ones to say.
there's no interest in learning how to do it. It's just kind of like spoon feeding you. Like this is how you do everything.
They're telling you how to move. I can figure out how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can figure out how to do this on my own. Like I have no choice. I'm stuck in a pit. So what do? I slide up the side, and that's why it makes his dick rock hard.
Like, if you couldn't figure out Mega Man X from that first intro stage, you're too stupid to enjoy the game.
Exactly.
You deserve it. Just take it back to
Yeah,
the store.
take it back to the store and be like, I don't get this. Give
Like-
me Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah. My dick is flaccid.
I
I
need
don't
some
know.
Bebe's kids up in this.
I need-
I don't get it.
Nobody needed Bebe's
God
kids up in this
damn
bitch.
you, sir. But like, we have the new versions of consoles coming out. Just put a dumbass button on the controller. I don't know what to do. Hit the dumbass button.
The do button. So Game Informer years ago did this. They did the Game Enforcer, and they were talking about the new Nintendo
Was it Lame
system.
Pro? Was that what they called it? The April Fool's edition?
Yeah, it was one of their April Fool's ones, and they were talking about the new Nintendo system, and it was a D-pad and one big button that said "do" on it, and it was like what to do, hit the do button. Also, what to do, hit the do button. Like that was it.
So it
just
was
one
Dragon's
button.
Lair.
Yeah, that's it exactly. It's the do button.
So
Yeah,
did
it's-
anybody finish this one? I rented it once and didn't.
My idiot brother beat this game multiple times. He ended
Does
up
he
going
listen to
through-
this show? Do you know you call him that all the time?
I always call him that.
Okay.
It's honestly that is more natural for me to call him that than anything else.
Okay.
So my
Was the movie named after your, our idiot brother? That movie.
Oh
that
no, but
exists?
probably
Okay.
sure.
It's named after
So he beat that game. It was one of those, he was a younger kid. It was one of the first games that we got for the SNES. And after he beat Donkey Kong Country, he sat down and he played Mega Man X. And yeah, well, we were poor, so but he got Mega Man X, and you can get the Dragon Punch in it. So there's like neat.
That was like
things-
ridiculous. Didn't you have to go through a stage like 4 times?
Yeah, you had to, like,
get that.
do
You
that.
only
Jump
got
up
that if you got
But you got the
Nintendo
cool
Power.
X
There was no
armor.
internet.
Hadouken in the first one, then Dragon Punch in the
Oh
second
yeah,
one.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because I
But,
beat
like,
the crap out of that game too.
The
For that,
you got the different pieces of the armor, so you could like have neater pieces of the armor, and then there were 1-up bats in it, like honest to god, proper 1-up bats.
You can actually change levels in the order you play them. You would change the look of different levels. That was a first for a Mega Man
Yeah,
game.
it was a good game, but it was kind of like an older brother sort of game. You know, like this isn't your little brother's Mega Man.
Extreme.
Dan
Except
Cortez.
go ahead, Chris. The password theme for Mega Man X. Find it on the computer and play it. Because it is like this hard, like if you listen to Storm Eagle, it's like this hard, metal music, like double bass pedal, yeah, and then Armored Armadillo is kind of this like jazzy bit, and then it does the password theme, and it is like the cutest, foofiest...
This is a 15-minute, 30-second loop.
Oh, that's good.
Wasn't the Game Over theme for this also similar to that? Where it was like, you died!
Yeah,
you got your ass kicked!
Yeah, you suck. It sucks to be you.
I guess even the first ones are kind of like dee 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 dee.
Yeah, and like the Mega Man 3, Brentalfloss did a version of that where he did the lyrics where it's just like, you suck, you don't deserve to be alive, sort of thing. But it's the cutest song ever, so... It's a fun game, and it is neat because there are things that if you pay attention to it, like it does change the levels. With the bats, you've got like Mechanoid Bat, proper 1-up bat, like proper Mega Man. There's a painting of him on the wall. The little cute fluffy, yeah, he's got the little, he's just like little bat.
So did these games get better as they went on?
No, they immediately got bad.
Fuck no, God no.
X2, X3, they're both pretty
although
hard to
4,
find.
X4 is supposed to be
got
okay.
some votes, but that's PlayStation, so we did
and
not
one of them
combine
has Duff McWhalen in it. None of that is okay. They named the bosses, which were all animals for some reason. They named the bosses after rock stars. So there was like a Slash. There was like Slash Beaver or some shit like that.
That's similar to Chrono Trigger too.
It was.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of Mega Man was based around Rockman. There was Rockman, and then Roll, and then Rush, and then all of these other things that were
Bass.
They were very musical
tempo.
related, so that makes sense.
Groupie.
Except
whenever you move it,
Mega Man,
except
Cocaine
whenever you move it
addiction.
over to the U.S. and it's like I don't understand any of these references.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Well, and then honestly, like them using the animals was weird. It was like it's understandable that they're robots and they're reprogrammed, and Dr. Wily's a dick, but Dr. Light's an idiot, and these are all things. This is like a common theme, and then you're like, oh, they're robotic animals. Why?
What was the name of the robotic cat?
Tango.
Oh, Tango. That's what it was. Not Tempo. Tango.
Yeah, Tango.
As in Tango and Cash?
That was the first thing that came to my head.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy. But
No, it's too obvious. I'm sorry. 80s
Low hanging
reference
fruit
minus
there,
one.
Chris.
But that X2 and X3 got to be some of the most overpriced games for how actually good they are.
X3 is crazy expensive.
But don't they actually have the PS2 compilation of those as well?
Yeah, they did an X series.
That's expensive too.
There was
Yeah, they're expensive too.
Is it a Wii?
A GameCube.
Or a GameCube?
DS one of the X series, I think.
Just the first one.
Is it just the first
one?
one?
Yeah, the Maverick Hunter.
There's a Mega Man Zero
I think of the
collection.
Zeros. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's
there's a
two
Zero
Yeah, those
fucking
games are hard.
games.
God damn it.
Yeah, well, and they did
Yeah.
they did them on the
I was looking at
GameCube,
the
and sweet buttery crap, you can't play them on the GameCube because all the buttons are weird.
No,
That was
for
only
Mega
the
Man 1
first
through
one.
6.
Well, even
The
on the
collection.
other ones, like
I think
Even
the
Mega
X-
Man X
well,
is backwards.
so the problem,
I
my
thought
my
they fixed
brother
it.
has this weird thumb, and if you look at his thumb juts out in a very strange way because he learned how to play Mega Man and be able to control both the jump and the run button, like simultaneously with his thumb, not individual presses, but be able to do it with the thumb, like weird, and he cannot replicate that on any controller other than the original NES controller. Not even the dog button. Like, that screws him up because it's sideways. Like, he can't do it on anything else. And the do button just doesn't work on the GameCube.
Okay, so speaking of thumbs up for everybody coming tonight.
Yay,
And,
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the big party at the end with the last 20 or 25 games or so. Looks like in August. So I hope everybody shows up and we can totally trash the last 25 or love them or do whatever.
So we'll do like 2 more 76.
I think we'll do
51.
25 episodes because
We'll do 25 episodes.
4 episodes.
20 an episode of 25 games.
Okay.
And
Not
how much
25
was it,
episodes,
2
one for
hours?
each game.
Yeah, 2 hours, 50 minutes.
Oh
Not bad.
fuck! I only wanted to go an hour.
Although we did,
It's almost midnight, so...
we did 101, so one of them's got to be 26.
This one was 26 because we went that on 75.
Now, did we?
Okay.
You got a bonus, listeners. Enjoy.
Now you're playing with podcast.
Hey, listeners, this is Chris. There's new places to follow Now You're Playing with Podcast. You can subscribe to Now You're Playing with Podcast on iTunes, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at BSG4000 to see our new videos. Of course, you could still follow us on Twitter at NYPW Tweets, or Facebook at Now You're Playing with Fan Page. If you enjoy our shows, please leave us a comment, rate us, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Pass the word to your friends, or pick up a t-shirt at our screened page, NYPW Shop. We have lots of great new episodes coming, so stay tuned, and as always, thanks for listening.
Now you're playing with podcast.